Hello and welcome to live second round coverage of the 2019 Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. This is a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, as you just saw in the opening there. I am Nate Doss, and this is four-time Disc Golf World Champion Valerie Jenkins.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning out there. We are here bright and early, Fountain Hills, Arizona, for round two coverage. We have the lead card today. And Val, let's talk a little bit about who the lead card is and where we are with the standings after the first round.
Well, it's going to be an exciting day. Yesterday, everybody grouped up. There's a lot of players right at that lead. So we're watching the lead card. Everybody is tied at even. So on the lead card today, we have leading us off is Jennifer Allen, who actually just moved to Arizona this offseason. We're going to see her tee off. It looks like she's stepping up to T1 right now.
I did it again, dang it.
She doesn't seem happy with that shot, but she crushed it. And as we'll see, she is a boomer. She has great distance on her drives. People loved it. And stepping up to the tee box is a fan favorite out of Oregon, Zoe Andike. And Zoe throws a nice hyzer shot. This is the place that you want to land. You want to land right out in the open. This hole is only 318 feet from this new tee pad that the women are teeing off from, but you want to stay clear of that water. So staying off to the right is nice and safe. And here we have Jessica Weiss throwing a backhand.
Yeah, and if you're watching both coverages of the men and the women, you're going to see that this is a slightly shorter tee pad, laying out just a little bit better for these ladies. They can attack the hole just a little bit more.
And here's a new face, Maria Oliva.
That's right, Oliva. We need to make sure and say Maria's name, but great to see a new face on the lead card here in the second round of the Memorial Championship. Throws a great shot there as well. We have all four players that kept the disc inbounds, which is key here. We didn't really see a hole preview here, but the water is obviously what they were trying to avoid. So let's go ahead and see what the chase card has done on hole one as well.
And so here we go. We got Paige Pierce. She is actually sitting at +1 from yesterday's round. The last person, or the last two people that are tied are joining Paige on this card, Evelina Salonen and Missy Gannon, who also shot even rounds yesterday.
Yeah, so actually...
And as you can see, that was Madison Walker teeing off. You can't really tell, but she was all bundled up there.
Yeah, and actually, as we see Madison putting here for birdie, she had a really nice drive. Two of the players in this group, oh, and what a great run. Two of the players in this group are tied for the lead as well. So we have 6 players tied for first place, something we don't see all that often, but it kind of shows you how yesterday went. And it'll be interesting to see if we see a little bit more of that today. We just see our players walking up the fairway, getting set for their second shots. You know, a little bit cooler this morning, and really temperature-wise, it's about the same, but the sun's not out quite yet. I'm sure the Valley of the Sun will show itself here in just a little bit, but you see a little bit more of a breeze. You see that Discraft flanner flying behind Jen there. So conditions could be a little bit more difficult, which might lay out for the longer throwers. So we'll see how today comes along.
Exactly, and you can see the flanners waving, so that, you know, might stir up the groups, might get a little bit of separation between these top players. Now, as you'll see, Jen Allen is going to be throwing her up shot toward the water, so let's see how close she can get this. I think that's perfect position. It's still early, like we were saying, so even putts like that could be a little testy. This is the first hole you're playing, it's the first basket right by the water. So a little nerves. Jen's leading the tournament. I still think that's a tester putt. I'd be nervous making that.
Yeah, and it was a headwind from there. It's about 80 feet away. She jump putted it, which shows sort of how she was feeling about the shot. But there is just a little bit more of a breeze here. Zoe stepping up quickly and laying it up immediately. There was nothing in her mind about going for that, and good for her to stick with her game plan.
Absolutely.
Jessica Weiss.
Wow, that was a beautiful run, it looked like. I mean, it had nice height, but it dropped right before the basket, skidded right underneath. That's all you're looking for. And here is a CTP from Maria. Looks like another layup.
Yeah, all layups for those ladies. And while I think Jessica's did look like a run, I think it was still a layup, but it looked good from our angle there.
It's a nice lofty layup.
Jen's the only one here with any sort of tester for her par.
Yeah, Jen?
And she's got it in the basket, and we'll have a bunch of pars on this one.
My name's Cody Britton, and it's a hot one out here, which is perfect because we're going to be talking about the heat. One of the great things about the heat is it gives any skill level player the ability to get it up to speed, to get tremendous amounts of glide. The rim fits well in anyone's hand. So one of the things that I love about this disc is how easily I can throw a consistent Anheuser. You can even use it to throw manicured shots through the woods. It's just an all-around phenomenal disc. Check out the heat for yourself today. You can pick one up at Discraft.com or your local retailer.
And as we see, the ladies are still tapping out. And I think it's pars for everybody on that first hole. We're gonna change up that scoreboard. It was incorrect, but that's pars for everybody, and they're moving on to hole 2.
Yeah, we just wanted to update the fans on what was going to be happening a little bit later in the day, but we will change that. And here we have a look at the scoreboard, and look at that. All of those people at even par bunched up at the top, 6 players at even par, with Paige Pierce at 1 over in 7th place. But this tournament has yet to be anybody really put their stamp on it yet.
Absolutely. Top 10 right there. They all have a chance at taking that lead within a couple holes. So I hope to see a lot of movement on this leaderboard throughout the round.
Yeah, really. +3 is tied for 10th place. We have Katrina Allen and Sandy Hendel there, but at 3 strokes behind on a course like this with a little bit of wind, really any of these players could really pop up into that lead position, or be near the lead. And as we talked a lot of yesterday, really par is good for this course. So, and especially with these maybe a little bit more difficult conditions, I think pars are going to be really good.
And we got some shots from the chase card here. Here is Evelina Salonen. You can see on the back of her jacket, she's reigning from Finland. Another bomber in the women's field.
Yeah, Evelina has that sort of all or nothing type of style, it seems like. She's it's great to have the players from Europe. We're going to see another European Finnish player in the men's coverage as well. So it's awesome to see these players being able to get out of the cold north and come out and really show what they've got under the sun in Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. And she just has that raw power. I mean, there's no doubt about it. She is going to rip that disc. I mean, she's got her whole body behind it. So much power. I was able to play with her 2 years ago on this course, actually, and I was just so impressed with her form and her technique. And speaking of anybody with almost flawless technique, we've got Paige Pierce. I think when anybody sees her throw in person, such a small body frame, but the technique is on point.
Yeah, and hopefully, we get to see quite a bit of the chase card live today, just because it really is almost a chase card, lead card, really is one card, just because of those scores that we saw. So we didn't see where Paige's disc landed, but she didn't look too upset about it, and she looked like in good position there for a possible birdie. But we're back here in the booth, and I just think it's exciting to see so many players being in the mix here. course, this is a big change for the Memorial Championship, playing Fountain Hills back to back.
Yeah, it is. You know, some of these players, they're getting the redemption almost immediately. So these players that we're seeing today, they played great, solid rounds yesterday. And I know that they're looking to back them up with the same great rounds today. Here we have Madison Walker, still all bundled up, Florida girl. So Arizona's a little cold for this Florida girl right now.
Yeah, she if it's not 80 and humid, Floridians can be a little bit cold. She did a little spin there, and I think that disc ended up out of bounds, unfortunately. But you know, maybe she'll have a putt for par still coming up. You know, it's again, as we come back to the booth, we don't have the sheet back here for those of you yesterday. That sheet got pretty famous, but you know, again, I'm just really looking forward to see how the players attack the course after, you know, coming out yesterday. We had a little bit of, you know, up and down play in the very beginning of the round, but really things kind of leveled off.
Yeah, and you just like skimmed right over that sheet. I mean, those are high thread count quality sheets, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed that. We are expecting to get the Disc Golf Pro Tour drop sheet behind us. Bear with us. This is all new to me especially, but we're learning new things on the fly. We're making up backdrops as we can, and hopefully we'll bring you something fun and entertaining to talk about in the chat board today. Sorry, the sheet's gone.
Yeah, and you can see Jen Allen just with her headphones in. She's definitely focused on what she has to do. Jen is actually newly local to Arizona, living in, I think, Gilbert, you know, so she's somewhat of a local, although it's a fresh thing for her. So
that's good. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
we know things are going fine.
She's a great player to see. She, as you said in the opening, she's got a big arm, and we're going to see quite a bit of that today.
Right, and I think it's really fortunate she was able to move to Arizona in the off season, get a little bit more play. We're going to see her driving. She's trying to get low, but unfortunately hit those trees a little high. And so Jen was able to play a few tournaments earlier in this year. I mean, you could play disc golf all season long here in Arizona. And so fortunate for Jen, moving from Oklahoma. It could be cold, it could be snowy, icy, windy. You never know. So I'm sure she's happy to be here playing on her home course. Zoe Andike.
Zoe takes the low route with a nice skip, putting her right in the middle of the fairway. And for a player like Zoe, this is a par. She's playing this hole for par, and we're going to say this quite a bit throughout the coverage. Pars are good on this course for these players. So there's, you know, a lot of birdie opportunities, and Zoe had a really nice front nine in the first round. And Jessica just taking the sidearm there, a little bit of a crosswind, putting it right in the middle.
And we'll see Maria Oliva. She had the most beautiful round, if you guys were able to check it out on UDIS Live. Here she goes, throwing a nice shot. It looks a little wide, but skips right in front of that wall. Lands nice and safe in the fairway. But as I was mentioning, Maria's round was incredible. She had one bogey, one birdie, everything else par. So that's what you want to have on this course. You don't want to go on that roller coaster ride. You want to have nice, even keel rounds. So let's hope she can do that again today.
Yeah, we have Madison Walker here from the chase card with a big long. This is a par attempt. Putting it right up next to the basket there.
Looks a little cloudy still there. And here we got Jennifer Allen lining up her second shot.
Yeah, and while we have the players still on the green, Jen's so far back. She's just playing this hole for par, trying to get it out there in the middle, putting herself in position to make that next shot as easy as possible. And here we are up on the green. We see Paige Pierce. She was marking her disc as we just came on to this shot, and she was OB, so this putt will be for par. pulled it just a little bit right. And I still think Paige is the player to really look at this tournament to win. She's obviously played so well at it for so many years. So we'll see. And again, we the last 2 rounds of this tournament are a completely different course. So there's still a lot to be told in this one. And here's Evelina making that putt. Couldn't tell it. That might have been for birdie, not sure, but we don't know exactly where she ended up on her second shot there. That might have been it.
Right where I want to go.
And you can hear Jessica. She's still waiting for him to clear the green. The cameraman is moving into a different position, I hope.
Guy on the right.
We actually will see Jessica throwing a few different shots today. She has a strong backhand, a strong forehand. So it'll be interesting the shot choices she chooses and when she chooses to throw either one of the throws.
Yeah, it's great to have both shots, backhand and sidearm. And really, Jessica is very good at both. I don't really know. I'm sure that sidearm is her main choice if she had to choose, but she's just, yesterday she was throwing a lot of clean backhands, which was awesome to see. Really just coming out so clean out of her hand. And we sub the players up on the green. This is Paige Pierce, but yeah, she's got that ability on both sides.
Absolutely, just raw talent. She has been playing disc golf for basically her entire lives, like some people we know. Raining out of Grass Valley, California, so she's also fortunate that she can play disc golf most all year long. I know they get a little snow. It's Northern California, but I know Jessica's out there playing as much as she can on those local, fun, tricky courses. Same courses that Greg Barsby grew up on. Condon Park.
Yeah, Penn Valley. They're more wooded courses, so you would expect players like Greg and Jessica to be a little bit more proficient in the woods, but Jessica has shown that it doesn't really matter. She's good on everything and has had so many great finishes in a lot of the big tournaments. This is a little bit of an aggressive line, but it is a nice disc that turns over for her. This is going to land her perfectly in position for what will be probably an easy par if she can make the rest of the hole as easy as the first 2 shots were for her. Again, going sidearm backhand, which is just awesome to see a player being able to utilize both sides like that. And here's Zoe Andike lining up. She's looking out to the right. Again, playing this hole for par. Pars are good. They will be good for the entire tournament.
She wanted that to get up. You can see the body language. It's always going to have a smile regardless. And, it's going to be really fun watching these women attack this course. We watched the guys round yesterday afternoon, and it was just easy breezy, so effortless for the guys. They're just throwing these big hyzers, whereas the women will see them working out their very own strategy, sticking to their game. It's all about placement shots, even on these big, long par 4s like hole 2, trying to land in the perfect position that they can make their great upshot or hopefully close enough to the pin to make birdie opportunities happen.
Yeah, and one thing about watching disc golf or really any sport like that, and as our players just are waiting for the players on hole 3 to play, it's really great to see the course challenging the players right around par, right around the way that the course was designed. We in disc golf sometimes get so used to seeing so many birdies on the men's side. We really overlook the fact that the women are playing these courses that are really kind of set up for them in a lot of ways. So awesome to see that, and I just really love watching the women play for that reason specifically.
And you can see it's always great camaraderie. We got Haley King stepping into the camera, trying to steal the show, but right there, friendly competition, catching up on the first couple of holes that are played and probably giving Maria a little pep talk to keep her going. Here we go, back in the action.
Disc in the air for Maria. Again, playing it out to the right, playing this hole for par. That was a beautiful shot. It's going to be awesome to see a new player and see how she plays. She had such a consistent round yesterday. We'll see if she can keep that going. Maybe 18 pars, maybe a birdie in there. We might see something special from Maria today, but great to see new faces, and really just looking forward to seeing how she turns out in this lead group.
Yeah, absolutely. And welcome back to the booth. This is a morning round. And, I'm just thinking in my head about these early morning rounds out at Fountain Hills. These women are waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark, trying to get ready, get pumped, eat some breakfast. It's tough to do when it's that early in the morning. And then especially going to the practice field, it's dark. It's still cold. I mean, you're in the desert, so it does get cold, trying to get your hands warmed up. And so these first couple of holes, these women are trying to get in their groove, trying to get that momentum going, but it's early. So we'll see how these ladies shake it up in this morning.
Yeah, I mean, these players I think they're used to getting up early. They've been playing a lot of early rounds, even all the way back to Vegas, and, having to play in the snow. Jen putting it just up there by the palm tree that's just outside the circle, circle one for her par putt at that point. She did get caught up early on this hole. We can see Dustin Keegan just pulling the cart there for Zoe, kind of doing double duty today. But yes, as you said, these players do have to get up early and warm up in the dark, in the early morning sunlight. It is still chilly, so a little bit of an added challenge there. We have Zoe Andike putting herself in great position. Zoe's a very deliberate player. She knows her game. She knows where she needs to put her body to execute the shot. You can see that with her body alignment there. Playing it just in front of the palm tree, and that's going to work out just fine for her. About a 20-foot putt for par.
Yeah. Still not close enough to the basket. I bet she would rather have gone around the palm tree, put a little more power on it to land her a little closer to the basket. But here we got Maria Oliva throwing her third shot. And like I said, it's early. I've been in this position. You're still trying to get comfortable, trying to get that feel in your throw, and even those short up shots. Sometimes you don't know what your hand is going to do or your arm's going to do when you're releasing it. And I think that was a little miscue right there. And she left it, I think, outside the circle.
Yeah, she definitely did. She's just near that tree. And sometimes when you're so close, it's hard. You're trying to look for a full shot, full swing, as Jessica has done there. That was a complete full throw for her, putting it right up next to the basket for what looks like an easy par.
And here we've got the second card. This is Missy Gannon. She is marking her shot. Looks like she's just right outside the circle on this elevated basket on hole 3.
Here we have the Disc Golf Pro Tour Pyramid, sponsored by the Next Generation Tour, giving the players a little bit of an added challenge by having an elevated basket. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Oh, and she just misses on the left side. That was a good effort for Missy. Missy also a little bit new to the scene. So, nice to see, again, another player up there with an opportunity.
I remember seeing Missy play at the Rocky Mountain Women's Championship, and that was the first time I had heard her name. And yeah, it's just great to see all these new names to the list. Everybody's bunched up at the top, so who knows? Everybody's giving Paige a challenge, giving all these experienced players that have been playing this tournament forever a run for their money.
Yeah, we just saw Maria just laying up. We see Jen laying up as well. A little bit of jockeying for position here. Players just sort of, making sure to stick with their game plan, not put themselves in a tough position. Hole 2's green is a little bit tricky, and we see a nice bit of camaraderie between the two players there. Here's Zoe, and actually from our camera view, it looked like she was closer, but this is just about a circle's edge putt. Again, you'll see Zoe's deliberate style, but the green on 2 is tricky.
It's a great run. We're going to see Zoe running at a lot of these putts, which can be tricky. Hey, spotter.
Well, we just saw the spotter running in, which means that it did roll just a little bit. We don't know. By the looks of the spotter, it did stay inbounds for Zoe, but again, that tricky green sort of showing its teeth. And, that's the one thing, because it is just a little bit sloped there and it slopes all the way down to the water.
Yeah, and it is fast. You can see the patches of green grass and brown grass. So you never know if you're going to stick next to the basket or perhaps get up, roll toward the water. So it seems like Zoe is lining up her shot. We see Jessica in the distance there, looking out into the water, meditating. And we are zooming in to see what she's looking at.
There you go, Dom.
And I think that Zoe hit that putt. Jessica's smiling.
Yeah, Zoe just
Zoe's
comes into
of
the
course
screen
smiling.
there. Yeah, Zoe just comes into the screen. She did make her bogey putt, and our cameraman just couldn't see her because she was right behind the palm tree there. But here's Jessica Weiss for par.
Sticks right in.
Yeah, keeping it in the basket
nervous.
there. Only par of the group, so good for Jessica. She should come out of this hole as the leader of the tournament, tied with Missy Gannon. So we've seen, just a few little mistakes early on. A couple of players already over par just through 2 holes.
And if you guys are joining us, we invite you to head over to udisclive.com to follow along the scores. Everybody is in a tight race right now, so there's going to be a lot of movement this morning. But if you head over to the website right now, you can check out all the scores and see how your favorite player is doing. But it looks like we got a hole preview, so let's go check out hole 3. And here we've got hole 3. You saw that player on the tee throw a nice wide hyzer, but this fairway is just surrounded by OB. You see the wall on the right. There's a sidewalk. There's a marked line on the left. Players just need to get near this basket. It's only 294 feet. The basket is elevated, so you want to stay as close as possible, but it's a pretty wide open shot. I mean, if none of these obstacles were there, if the OB wasn't marked, these ladies could do it throwing with their opposite hand. They could park this hole. So, I think just those added elements, adding some fear behind the throw, makes this hole a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, definitely. And this is now the first hole of 4 straight holes where the ladies will head away from the lake. And so we will, now see them. There's still OB on every hole, but they are heading away from the lake, so maybe a little bit less worries there. But we are here. The players have made it to the tee pad, and Jessica Weiss has the tee after that par on the last hole.
Looks like Jessica's going to be teeing off on the grass. Sometimes it's a little more traction over there.
Yeah, definitely. I think you'll see about 90% of the players using the grass when they have the opportunity. Jessica not fully committed to that shot, still leaving herself about 40 feet from the basket.
The distance on this hole is really strange. I was always between a mid-range and a driver. I think that a stable fairway driver is a good option to throw. I think that's what Jen threw. She got the distance on it just past the basket, and you get that nice skip if you throw a driver as opposed to a mid-range.
Yeah, that was she really just committed to the shot. She knew her line. Again, using those banners on the right as a line, I think really helped her a lot in skipping it just in behind the basket. She'll have a look for a birdie. Now have Zoe and Dyke changing a disc at the last second, but lining it up. Whoa, and almost hitting the pyramid and going just a little bit long. She should still be inbounds. The OB does creep in there on the left side. So we now have Maria. Maria's choosing to use the tee pad here, the temporary tee pad.
And to me, it looked like she threw a mid-range on that. She threw the nice straight line, so it stayed in the fairway, flying over the fairway the entire time. So unfortunately, she didn't get it high enough. She didn't put enough air underneath it to carry herself all the way to the basket. And we're going to go check out the chase card and see how they played this hole. Now we've got Paige Pierce here. I'm sure Paige is throwing a mid-range. I mean, she's got enough power behind that, but I don't know. It skipped pretty fast.
Yeah, it looked like a high-speed disc, and she's now lining up her birdie opportunity here and just missing it. And actually, I believe she was actually OB there. We might that OB line really creeps in. We can check what she got on that hole. That either is a 4 or a 5 for Paige, and we're just confirming it was a 5. So she was out of bounds there, just there on the left side. We might see that same thing from Zoe as we come back to our lead card here. Jessica Weiss, about 40 feet out. We can see just with that elevated basket, a little bit of added challenge.
For me, standing a little bit farther from these baskets almost makes it more appealing to go for the putt. When I'm standing right underneath the basket, you know, if you gave me a 10, 15 footer, I have to throw at a sharper angle up at the basket. Whereas Maria and Jessica's line, I feel like I'm a little bit more even with the basket. My putter can fly a little bit flatter. It's more of my normal putting technique.
Yeah, and regardless of really how they're feeling about it, it's still a long ways away. So saw a couple of putts there, you know, decent efforts, but it would have been a big bonus for them to have made that. And if we can just see a disc there on the left side, we see Zoe coming in. And yeah, I believe that is actually the OB line. And I'm not sure.
This is the OB. Oh.
Yeah, I
the boys played it yesterday.
See, there's a conversation going on here. We'll just listen in.
This is the circle, but this part's OB. But there's no other connecting line. Connected to that. Yeah, but that's connected to the wall. So this is out of bounds. Yes. This is connected to the wall. I thought you were saying it stay. Over there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and as we spoke about, and Jessica coming in and confirming, that is the OB line. It is a little bit confusing for our players because they're so used to seeing a circle there, but that line was actually solid and not dotted, indicating that it was the OB line. So Zoe will be putting for par from this position. A little bit unfortunate for her. She was only about maybe 8 inches outside that OB line. Just hitting the top. Zoe a little bit frustrated, kind of bouncing around there, trying to shake off that. Again, a little bit of an unfortunate OB stroke there.
Yeah, when your mind is set on, all right, I threw a decent drive, I'm going to be going for my birdie putt, and then instantly, no, you're out of bounds. You're now going to save a par. So the instant mind switch right there, that's a lot for a player to deal with. There we go. Jenna Allen throws in her birdie.
Yeah, we have
solo birdie on that hole. And for everybody else, we're going to be doing, oh, we got Maria. She's still got a tester, I would say. And thank you to DGA for sponsoring the Disc Golf Pro Tour. What is coming soon? I'm excited about it.
Well, there we go. We have the updated leaderboard. Jen with a birdie coming right off that bogey on hole 2. Jessica Weiss with an easy par on that, and Missy Gannon also threw 3 holes at even par. But again, leaderboard now actually getting a little bit broken up. But as our players walk over to hole 4, we will take an overhead look at it with our hole preview.
And here we are, hole 4. It is 463 feet. Players have to throw a big crushing drive, hoping to land in a nice green grassy area, but you have the OB road on the right, which wraps around behind the basket, which is tucked underneath that olive tree. You can't necessarily see it there, but it's right there next to the electrical boxes. You also have that landscaping area, which is OB, but hoping these ladies throw a big crushing drive. And I think this shot is all about the upshot to get close to the basket. And here we'll see the chase car. This is Missy Gannon. I would assume this is her upshot going for her par putt. As you can see, that the road is pretty close behind that basket. I'd give it 20 feet behind the basket. So running at these putts still on a slight downhill toward the basket is a little risky.
Yeah, 15 or 20 feet behind the pin from this angle. And hole 4 is a very difficult hole for the ladies. It plays just as a weird distance, and that tree becomes a big obstacle for them. This is Madison Walker for par, just leaving it a little bit low. Maybe the road did creep into her mind just a little bit. A little bit of wetness on the disc. It is moist out here in the early morning hours in Fountain Hills.
I don't think people like hearing that word. It's a little early, Nate. We have Evelina also running for her putt. I think she was at a better angle looking at the basket, a little flatter ground. But it seems that the chase card is going to put in a couple drop-ins. Missy Gannon marking her lie, but she is not out of bounds.
And we'll see when we get to see the scoreboard the next time, we'll see it's starting to really elongate out. At currently, a tie for 8th is 4 over, which we had a tie for 10th, so we had more players in there. So it's just sort of getting spread out a little bit. And I think we're starting to see our players really kind of figure out where they're going to be. But it's still early in this second round, so long way to go before today is over.
It is early, and I think in this front 9, you need to start getting awake. This is the point of the round. These first 9 holes, you need to play safe, consistent golf. It's in the back 9 where you can now feel warmed up. You can throw bigger drives, hopefully get right next to the basket. You can see Jen, she's trying to wake up here. Jessica as well, doing some stretches, some high kicks. I mean, I've never seen anybody kick as high as Jen Allen. I know she was in cheerleading. I know she's got flexibility. She is crazy athletic. A physical therapist, I believe, by trade. So Jen Allen is on tour a ton, but she also works full-time and is a mother. So she does it all.
Full-time mom, full-time job, full-time disc golfer. Really amazing. Pulling that one just a little bit low. She's going to leave herself with a tough upshot from there. And again, that's when the tree really becomes an issue on that second shot.
And I know Jen wanted to take a huge bite out of this hole. She's the world distance record holder, so she could easily reach this shot if she gave it her all. We got Jessica Weiss.
I think the real play on this hole is to go a little bit more out to the left side. Jessica's done that pretty well, keeping her disc up on the flat. At this point, that tree is going to be less of an issue for her. She should have a full visual of the basket without that tree in the way. So really, I'd like to see a lot of these players play a little bit more up to the left to give themselves a better opportunity. And Maria has pulled it to the right. It's hanging on. And we couldn't see exactly, but I think it is in bounds. We couldn't get much from her reaction.
No, that was really close. It could also be curbed. So as you get down lower there, the gravity can really pull you down toward the road.
Zoe Andike on the tee. Did bogey the last hole. She pulls it a little bit right, hits the tree, and ends up OB. Zoe with a half smile, frustrated. Just when that happens and you're the last player on the card, you always just want to walk off and just go play.
I hate that feeling. Oh my gosh, when you last person on the card, you know that you're going to be the first one up to throw your up shot. You're all right, come on guys, let's go. You know, it's unfortunate that Zoe pulled it a little to the right. She's going to have a long upshot toward the basket. But I think at this point, she's got to give it her all, aim toward that olive tree, and hopefully give herself a putt. She'll be saving her bogey if she does that.
Yeah, and I would say that Zoe always gives it her all, really, no matter what. She has a great sort of mental game as far as kind of staying positive and staying in it. It doesn't really seem like it matters to her if it's a shot, the first shot or the last shot of the hole. She's always so into it. And Dustin ran and got that disc for her. She might be looking to throw it again. But of course, this is going to be a really difficult shot for her, bringing in that OB on the right, that OB sort of culvert area, and of course the tree coming into play as well. And we see Zoe lining up her shot here.
Everybody liked that. It looked like it skipped right in front of that landscaping area, down level with the basket. I think Zoe's going to have a very nice look at running that putt.
And let's see who the Disc Golf Pro Tour media team is. And we are back, and as much as people want to complain, whether good or bad, those are the people who are a part of the media team here at the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and we appreciate everybody's hard work.
Yeah.
We're excited to be here calling some live disc golf for you, especially really excited to be calling the ladies here early in the morning in the second round. That's just Jessica Weiss as we come back. Again, I think leaving her disc up to the high side gave her a great opportunity for par.
Right, and with that forehand that she's got in her back pocket, that was a perfect shot, very strategically played. Yeah, I love that shot. Having your drive a little higher, now you can see the basket as you're throwing your up shot. You'll see Jen Allen on the low side of the hill. Hopefully she has a view of the basket, but I'm not quite sure she does. You can see that, yeah, we can see in the side view here that she's going to have to throw a little higher shot to get over the hill, but avoiding that olive tree to get under the basket.
And there's that look as her disc is now in the air. And she played that really well, putting it just in front of the electrical box there. That won't be a problem for her. Should be a good par opportunity. And we're going to go down and see Maria just to on the left side of the screen there. She is inbounds off the tee. She has quite a few things in between her and the basket to deal with. I think she's close enough to everything so that it might not be too big of an issue, but we'll see how she deals with this.
Wow, look at all the things right in front of her. She's trying to find a line.
And with the wide hyzer.
Oh, that's going to be an unfortunate lie for her next shot. Hopefully they give her a good clean line where she can look at the basket, but it's looking like she might be positioned right behind the electrical boxes.
Yeah, her lie is what it is. I don't know if the players have anything to do with that, but
that's not what I meant.
I do think that the things in front of her bothered her just a little bit, kind of forcing her to pull that shot. And as you said, I think her lie is going to be right behind those electrical boxes.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I would have chosen anything differently. I think the hyzer line was a good choice. Yep, she just hung on to it a little too long. And you can see Zoe helping her out, finding that line where her disc last crossed inbounds.
Yeah, I think you're right. I wouldn't have done anything either. It was really the only shot. She just pulled it, I think, trying to avoid hitting anything right off the bat and just putting it a little bit too wide. So an unfortunate misstep for Maria, but really a lot of this is great experience for her as she moves forward in her career, her young career at this point. giving that a great run. I don't even think she could see the basket over the top there. So, you know, good on her for giving it a good effort, but unfortunately that is going to be a double bogey for her on this hole, as that was her 4th shot with the penalty.
Ooh, and here we've got Zoe Andyke. She's trying to get a good position. It doesn't seem like she has a clear shot to the basket, as we can see that huge olive branch looking her right in the face. She's still on the side hill, so she's going to be shooting downhill. So it's tough for players this far away to keep that height on the putt to make it to the basket.
Yeah.
Just an upshot for Zoe at that point.
Yeah, unfortunately, we sort of knew that already. There was nothing she could really do. And in fact, this basket used to be located closer to that tree, and as it's grown up, they've moved the pin just back and away from it. But the tree is really just such a great blocker of the disc, and making this hole really kind of fun to play in that regard. And here's Jessica Weiss for par. Beautiful par for Jessica. Jen Allen put her disc inside of Jessica's, and she's going to have a fairly easy par as well.
And I'm looking at Jessica's scorecard right here. She has parred every hole so far, so she's 4 for 4. And this is the kind of round we want to see out here. Nice even keel, especially on this front 9. See the other players on the card having a little bit more difficulties. A few bogeys on this card, but that's what this front 9 gives us.
So there's hole 4 for you, 2 double bogeys, 2 pars, and we see the scores now again starting to elongate out a little bit. Paige Pierce at 3 over for the round, 4 over for the tournament, but our 2 leaders in our lead card staying strong at even par.
Exactly. Jennifer Allen is also shooting an even round. She got a bogey on hole 2, a birdie on hole 3, so she's at even as well, but I think that par golf, you know, having to not ride the roller coasters of birdies and bogeys keeps you at that even keel, and I think is a little bit better for your mentality.
And as our players do have a little bit of a longer walk, we're going to actually take a look at the next hole, which is hole 5.
And here we are, hole 5, 355 feet. Players tee from out of bounds over this short little driveway, and it's a pretty straightforward shot, but there is, again, OB surrounding the entire basket. You see the road on the right, the sidewalk behind, there's a pavilion on the left. As much as you want to get a birdie on this hole, it's a tough shot, and it makes players kind of hold back. As much as you want to park it, you have to make sure you're landing in the fairway, and I think a par is respectable on this hole.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're actually 1 card ahead here now. We're seeing Missy Gannon on the tee of hole 6. Actually, she's up on the 6th hole, so we're getting a little bit of a preview here. But we will see our lead card play all of the holes. And this is Missy going up over the top. Not much of a reaction for her, but a little smile there, so I think she did okay.
Yeah. Missy's playing pretty good. She's at 1 over for the round. She was 1 over to start. Or she was even to start, I'm sorry. But she's playing a very solid golf right now.
And that was Madison Walker. Here's Evelina proudly representing Finland with her Finnish jacket. And a lot of us American players have been over to Finland quite a bit. And Evelina, I think, first saw us play when she was 12 or 13 years old, which makes me feel a little bit old, but great to see her in the U.S. playing. And here's Paige Pierce on that tee as well.
Paige is not having a great round. She's at the bottom of the box. Hopefully she can pick it up here.
And we just step in and we see Jen Allen just throwing here on hole 5, going a little bit to the left, but going around that pavilion and ending up inbounds. That was a good drive, really scary, but ends up with a birdie opportunity for her.
Yeah, and I think that just that view right there from that camera angle really put the pavilion into play. From the tee box, I'm sure Jen wasn't as scared, but that was a very great throw.
And Jessica Weiss going with the sidearm, with the flexing sidearm. What an awesome shot for her. Inside circle one, birdie opportunity for one of our leaders. So both of our leaders looking at birdies here on hole 5. Maria and Zoe coming off that difficult hole 4, trying to just avoid another mistake, trying to keep things positive, get a couple pars maybe on the card, a birdie if possible, but sort of getting the momentum back and finding that groove is going to be important for these after that difficult 4th hole.
Exactly. Getting back in the saddle, getting back on track is important.
You see Zoe's disc just in the air.
For us, we got a little freeze frame.
That out.
You know, I think this hole especially is all about disc choice. I would throw a straight fairway driver, but we saw as Maria threw it, you know, if you throw something that's a little straighter, a little more understable, you're risking that road coming into play. But I think that's the shot. Otherwise, you're throwing a stable fairway driver and risking going in that pavilion. So it's just knowing your discs, trusting your game and your strategy, and hopefully you're making the right choice.
Yeah, and just as we talk about with the men having control of those longer mid fairway.
Zoe looked like Jen laid up. Zoe's going for a big jump putt.
Yeah, it looks like we've seen Jen lay up quite a few looks from longer range, but Zoe is locked in here. And couldn't quite see what happened. The sidewalk does creep in a little bit there, but I do see her disc on the ground there, so she is in bounds. Should be a pretty easy par for her. And last but very not least, one of our leaders, Jessica Weiss, inside the circle after a great tee shot, really throwing that nice flex sidearm shot, giving herself an opportunity to take the outright lead here.
That was a great birdie putt. Getting that momentum going, keeping that momentum going, and she is on the board with the first birdie on this hole.
Of her round.
Of her round.
Sure. I know you were looking for that, but let's go ahead and get a commercial break here.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
And that was Black Ink Discs, and I really love their 2 commercials showing sort of the character of our players there. But 3 pars and 1 birdie on that hole, and we'll go ahead and take a look at our leaderboard here, and we can see that Jessica Weiss is solo on that board. Just 5 holes ago, we had 7 people at even par, and now we just have 2 people that are left there.
Exactly. Yep. It's really great that Jessica and Jen are playing great golf so they can watch each other. They can keep that competitive vibe going. It's really tough when you're trying. This is the lead card, folks. And if you see some other players struggling, that might also affect your game. But we see these 2 are still battling at the top of the leaderboard.
And let's get a quick overview of hole 6.
Here we are on hole 6. It's an uphill shot. You really can't tell from this view, but players are going to be throwing over that tree. You can see the road on the right. They're hoping for a big sky hyzer, landing them on the top of that hill, even with the basket. You throw anything a little too far to the right, you risk hitting the hill, rolling out of bounds. Same goes for the left-hand side. If you saw it off a little bit too much, skip and you'll go on the sidewalk, as we saw yesterday, the first round.
Yeah, Jessica Weiss got a big unfortunate roll on this hole. Still sticking with that sidearm, just playing a little bit wide there. She did stay up top. From what we can tell, was she went a little bit more aggressive, but bringing that hillside into play. Jen Allen will go with that backhand hyzer that you were alluding to.
That was the sawed-off shot. This hole, like I'm saying, it's an uphill shot. Ladies are having a really high release point to make sure to get over that tree, and trying to find that release point. It's not like a natural throw. This is a sky hyzer. It's a different technique that you have to throw. So I think Jen Allen right there, she released early, not on the line she wanted to, and she's going to be OB off to the left.
Yeah, that was just a poor execution of that throw. Being one of our leaders, we would have expected that, but Zoe Andike throwing it just like she envisioned in her mind. The big smile, there's the Zoe we all know and love, and that's going to give her a birdie opportunity. Maria taking it just a little bit inside, a little bit closer to that tree, getting to the top of the hill. We'll see if she goes for that look against scary putting green here.
Exactly. I'm not sure I would go for that putt. We'll check it out in a minute. We're going to take a short commercial break. Thank you to Upper Park Bags. We are back with the lead card as Maria throws her up shot under the basket. And here we go. It's going to be interesting to see where Jessica landed on the side hill. I see her looking down, but she's at the top of the hill, being positive that it's stuck on the side hill. We've got Jen Allen off to the left-hand side, right-hand side of our screen right here. We can see Jessica marking her lie. Looks like she's stuck on that side hill. So thankfully her sidearm grabbed some green grass right there and hung on.
Yeah, Jessica Weiss in bounds. Of course, Jennifer Allen is over the pathway, so she's going to be OB in this hole. And that was just really, for her, a bad shot. And she's, she's going to be frustrated with herself. This hole, I think, really plays well for her because of that type of throw and with her arm. But she's going to be looking to just try to nestle this one up to the basket, look for that bogey, and move on to the next hole.
Yep, take your medicine. You can't force this shot. You've got the downhill toward the road. You're not going for that.
Not at all. And we can see from our view here that Jessica has the trees, and this is a great view because we can see how severe that hillside is and giving it a great run. That was actually really maybe a little bit of those wooded holes from back in her home courses showing what they can do.
My heart almost jumped out of my chest. I know how steep that hill is, and thankfully for Jessica's putter, it knew right what to do. Just stay on the ground, stay right next to the basket. And I think that's going to be a nice, easy par for Jessica. There we go.
Zoe Andike with the birdie. Good for Zoe. This is sort of what we were talking about. She took that double bogey back on 4. Now getting a par, getting a birdie, maybe another birdie opportunity on the next hole. So this is Maria for par. She did hit the tree early. We couldn't see it from our view, but she hit the tree early, and that was a par for Maria.
Yep, there we go. It's a little more steady golf. Maria was off to a little rocky start for a while, but if she can get back on that par train, I think she's going to be sitting pretty. And as you mentioned, Zoe's got a little skip to her step now. She's getting back into that momentum. And a hole like that could just change up the game so quickly. I mean, there's so much OB that can happen. There's a lot of technical throws that you have to throw out here. Zoe gets the only birdie. while Jennifer Allen gets a bogey. Let's see if she can keep her head in the game. She's still right there, but Jessica now takes the lead on the leaderboard.
And just a quick walk for our leaders over to hole 7. Let's go ahead and take a look at that hole, bringing the water back into play here.
Here we go. We're back at the lake. It's 210-foot hole, hole 7. A lot of these ladies are going to be throwing a putter on this shot, but it's just about how much risk and how much bite you want to take out of this throw. It's right there sitting on the edge of the peninsula, pretty close to the water. I would say about 25 feet behind the basket. The water comes into play and clearly all around and in front of it. So we're going to see how these ladies attack this hole. For me, I like to play nice and safe. This hole, I know it's only 210 feet. It's the shortest hole on the course, but we'll see this olive tree reaching out into near the lake. It's on the edge of where the water comes in and starts the peninsula, but I actually go wide and out right. I'm thinking Zoe might also go this route, but we'll have to wait and see. Other players, I think Jessica's going right for it. Jen Allen's going right for it. But it's a risk-reward shot, and the birdie is right there if you want it.
As we look at the local wildlife there, we see Zoe Andike with that birdie on the previous hole, lining it up. And I think you're right, though. If you have, this one is more mind over matter, in my opinion. But we'll see what Zoe's game plan is on this hole.
Did I call it or what? That is a great play. She's not near the basket, but this lines her up for an easy par. I love that play on this hole. Keeps that water out of your sight, out of your mind.
Yeah, I like the play as well if that's what you've practiced. Again, it's a mind over matter. Jessica Weiss with the backhand, with a little bit of a steep angle, but ending up just in bounds outside of circle 1. Probably based on what we've seen so far, that should be a layup for her and just move on to the next hole. No reason to really risk the lead at this point now that we've seen her lead go up to a 2-stroke lead. Maria low and aggressive. Oh, with a great little skip up. Going to be looking at birdie on this hole. She really went with that aggressive line.
That was beautiful.
Jen Allen's disc just coming inbounds as well. So 4 inbound shots here on this tough water hole. Good for the ladies. And we will now, as we just see I want to see it. It's almost there. The fountain coming into view. And there it is right there. We're going to take a look at the chase card as we come in from that they played on hole 7.
Here we go. We've got Missy Gannon. It looks like she's just on the other side of the water. No need to go for that putt.
Not at all. This is Paige Pierce's drive. This is for birdie. And she leaves it just short. And Paige is so frustrated. She's had so many opportunities early in this tournament. Here's Madison Walker. Oh, just bouncing it off the rim there.
Oh, and Madison, I know she loves going fishing, but not in this case. Looks like she's fishing for that putter.
And we come quickly back to the green here with our lead card live action. And that's Zoe just laying it up again, playing this hole for par.
Exactly. And I remember reading, I think it was The Mind of Golf, or The Mental Game of Golf. But when you're laying up shots like that, this is your game plan. And you have to be just as confident in that layup as you would if you're going for parking it under the basket. And so Zoe is sticking to that game plan, and I think that's the smartest thing you can do out here when there's so much risk looking you in the eye.
Yeah, game planning is so easy because you can easily just fall back on it. You can say, well, I've already prepared to lay up. I've already prepared to play a hole in a certain way. There's no surprises. There's no decisions to make. And that's the last thing these players want to deal with, is having to make some type of decision. We've seen Jen Allen lay up a lot of these really in-between shots, and she didn't lay that one up going for it, just hitting off the front rim.
Yeah, and this is part of your game plan. Jen Allen stepped up to that. She felt confident in it. And regardless if the water's right behind the basket, she felt confident she was going to make that putt, and she went for it.
And what a beautiful, the sun just streaming out here on Maria's birdie putt. And what a beautiful putt for her it was. She's got the fountain on her left side. The sun is now breaking through. The valley of the sun is really doing its thing. And we've played 7 holes here almost. We have just a few putts left. This is Zoe again for her game plan par, executing it perfectly.
That was awesome. That's exactly what Zoe needed. Strategy is key out here, and it was great to see Maria grabbing a birdie on that, getting her back on track. I'd love to take another look at it. Let's do a little rewind recap. Let's take a look at Maria's putt. Boom, right in the
Love
heart.
the Zuka replay. What an awesome little addition we've had here. And there we go. We see the leaderboard. Jessica Weiss with the 2-stroke lead. The only player that's under par at this point in the tournament. We can just see the beautiful fountain there. It is 9:12 local time, which means the fountain will go off. The fountain goes off every 15 minutes or for 15 minutes on the hour. So at the top of the hour, it goes off for 15 minutes. And we're back in the booth here. We typically see a backup on hole 8, and our players are dealing with just a little bit of that. So we've played 7 holes, and this is really when we start to talk about this, between, holes 8 and 9. What have we seen so far that really is intriguing to you, and sort of where we are when we look at this leaderboard?
Yeah, the front 9 holes, it's really important to play safe. And for our 2 leaders up here, I mean, Jessica is the sole leader right now. She's got 1 birdie on the scorecard, and the rest are pars. So she is shooting such steady golf. Whereas Jennifer Allen, right behind her, 2 strokes behind at this point, she's got 2 bogeys, 1 birdie. So she's a little bit up and down, which can play, into your mental game there, but she's still playing really solid golf. And from the chase cards, we've got Missy Gannon sneaking her way up to now tied for second with Jennifer Allen. Same goes for Evelina. She's on the chase card as well. She is at a +2 for the round. Still really close to even. She had a couple bogeys there, but still really solid golf. And if you're not making a lot of mistakes, you're going to find yourself and your name up at the lead card. So let's go take a look at that chase card who is shooting so well.
Yeah, and here is that player you just mentioned, Missy Gannon, on the tee of 8. So we do have a full group backup. This is live action here where the players are just sort of stacking up on this hole, which is going to give us an opportunity to see some other players and sort of chat about what we've got on the leaderboard while our players sort of played those 7 holes pretty quick. We had a couple backups early on, but here's Evelina on the tee. And we will see as our lead card comes to this hole. This is a par 4. There's only 2 par 4s on this Fountain Hills course. And this is one of those ones where par is really good. I don't think we very rarely see birdies on this hole from many of our ladies. So pars are good on this one, but it's not an easy par at all.
No, this one is all about placement. And for Paige, her placement is hopefully way up the fairway. She's got that distance, so hopefully she crushes the shot and makes up for what happened yesterday on this hole.
Yeah, she's keeping an eye on it. I believe it actually might have hit the tree just to the left of the 9's tee pad. She actually had a really good rip on that one. And Madison just sort of cracking up a little bit. But yeah, Paige wasn't happy with whatever did happen up there.
That's a good play by Madison. As much as it looks like it's wide open, straightforward shot, if you go to the left of that olive tree that's up on the side hill there, you're still going to have an open look. And really at that point, you just want to have an open look so you can throw a nice upshot to the top of the hill where you can see the basket. So good placement by Madison. I think she'll be happy with that.
Yeah, again, knowing that it's a par, trying to play it for par, you can have that game plan, play for certain zones on the hole. And just looking back at our leaderboard here, it's nice to see Sandy Hendel coming up. She's shooting even par through 7 holes. She's actually on the 3rd card. She's tied for 5th. So it's just kind of cool to see some of the players coming up. If we go even further down, we have Rebecca Cox, who's at 4 over par for the tournament, tied for 9th, but 1 under through 10 holes. So best score or best round we have going with our leader at 1 under.
Yeah, and it's pretty fun to see the arrows of the up and down, and there's so much movement happening going on. So if you guys want to tune in and watch all the live scoring happen right now, go to udislive.com and you can see all these scores live in action. They even write, where the player is putting from, even though you can't see them on the live coverage. So you can follow along right there, just as live as we are right now.
Yeah, and Sarah Holcomb tied for 9th, making her way into our top 10 leaderboard. Sarah's a contender in almost all tournaments that she plays. So she's coming up, and we're starting to see maybe a little bit of movement here. It's pretty cool. We've almost gotten through, 1.5 rounds of this 4-round tournament. So we just are going to go back to our chase card and Missy Gannon. And this is one of the things, if you leave yourself short off the tee and that olive tree comes into play, it really makes this hole just that much more difficult because you still have so much of the hole left to play.
Right. And for me, it's getting my second shot placed on top of that hill so I can see the basket for my 3rd shot. You see Seth Munsey right there, Disc Golf Strong. He's there supporting his players who he's helped train through the off season. So that's really cool to see Seth out there.
And still a little bit of confusion amongst the players of I think the 3rd group might even still be on this hole up at the green. This is a peninsula green that's separated from the middle part of the hole. So it's just sort of stacking up here in this area of the course. And this is really typical for this part of the course.
Exactly. Yep. I meant to come up with a really catchy name for these 3 holes, 7, 8, 9, the peninsula trio, the trifecta of peninsulas. But the hole that we just played, this hole that we're on, and the following hole, the baskets are nestled right on the edge of a peninsula, bringing that water hugely into play, especially for these upshots that these ladies are going to be throwing on the next 2 holes.
Yeah, it really does. It does need a name. We've never really come up with a name. We've been playing there for so long. But yes, as you said, these holes with the water in play, with the peninsulas, it really is sort of the make or break portion of this tournament, or of these courses of Fountain Hills as the ladies play it. Because the other holes again go away from the water. There's some birdies, some bogey opportunities. These 3 holes are really make or break for these players.
They are, and it's all about that placement and where you're throwing your upshot from, how confident you can be that you're going to cross over land. So even if you do go out of bounds, you're still getting farther up the fairway, because this hole that we're watching right now, it's 570 feet. So it's a big par 4. So placement and gaining that distance in each shot is so important.
Yeah, we've seen just from the scorecards that the 3rd card has now cleared off this hole, making that peninsula green open for these players. But I think where Madison's located, she's still going to be looking just to get up and over the crest of the middle part of this hole and give herself an opportunity to throw over that last peninsula onto that green.
I think she was responding to a text there from somebody, but she's back in the action, back in the game.
Madison Walker is so good at taking Instagram photos. She might have seen something and just had to get a photo of it. But I think she's still a little bit in between discs as she changes. I think that was the third disc now that she has on this one, just trying to figure out what she wants to do.
She went for it. She grabbed a driver. She is going for the pin. She's going hopefully to cross that peninsula. Sounds like she went OB. We hear Johnny giving us the update there. Doesn't look happy with it, but sometimes you just get that greed. If you're not having a great round, you're like, well.
Yeah, perfect example of really, I as a player, we've done it so many times. I've certainly done it. You've certainly done it. And we just saw Madison do this. But, you really have to make a decision. And we just talked about it just on the last hole and could be committed to that. Evelina throwing a sidearm. We heard a little bit of a cheer. Not even sure she knows where it is, but she seems confident with its result.
Yeah, and I had to censor myself there for a second. I didn't complete my sentence, but you just kind of throw it up in the air. As we were just talking about, it's all about game plan. And if you're not sticking to your game plan and choosing things at random, you saw Madison going through her bag right there, not confident in which disc she's going to throw. She quickly grabbed a driver, said, I'm going for this shot. And unfortunately, it didn't work out so well for her. And that's what this course does to you. You can get frustrated. You could start, going against your game plan. And now you're going for these shots where you didn't practice that shot. You probably didn't throw that driver for the upshot. It's, I think it's really important to, regardless of how you're playing, sticking to the game plan is so important. I cannot stress that enough, because now she's ending up getting a couple more strokes than she wanted. And,
bit of a scary thing. I've just done it way too many times. So, we don't really love to see that. And now we're back here with our lead card. And we just had a disc in the air. That was from Maria. She had the tee from the birdie. And it's been a few minutes since we've seen these players play. So we might see a little bit of a change up here with just that little bit of delay.
Yep, exactly. You still got to keep your mind into it, even though you have a little bit of backup. Here we got Jessica Weiss.
Jessica Weiss, the leader of the tournament by 2 shots. So throwing that drive just right in the middle, I think she's going to be perfectly happy with that.
Absolutely. I think just staying right in the middle of the fairway is the most important thing. You can see that water creeping in on the left. We weren't able to do the whole preview, but you can see where the players want to land. It's right in that grassy area, creeping up a little bit on that hill. And hopefully Zoe's disc works it and lands her right where she needs to go.
Yeah, and I'd love to pull the whole preview up after these players throw, because I think it's important for our fans at home to realize really what this hole looks like, because there is so much undulation, but it does go up to a main landing zone and then down into another low area. Jen Allen just on the inside hitting the left-hand tree, going to leave herself a tough shot. As we saw with the second card, Missy Gannon getting caught up early, it actually allowed her to play the hole okay, and she's going to end up with a par on that one, which is not so bad.
It's not so bad. And as we see these players walking up to the tee, we're going to head over to a commercial and take a break for a second.
And that is the Next Generation Tour. Kind of a new thing on the scene. We've had a couple of Next Gen Tours, but we do appreciate their support of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. The Next Generation Tour trying to find the next player that's going to be on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, showing us what they're made of. And we can just see Maria just sort of pretty far back. I'm not sure if she hit and rolled, but her disc is pretty far back. It looks like it's inbounds, and I doubt she landed there, so she might have hit the olive tree and rolled back.
Yeah, I've never been in this position as many times as I've played this course, but we're just looking for a good upshot on the top of that hill. So Maria's going to choose her line in between those olive trees and get herself into a good position.
Yeah, great view from behind the player. You can see she went up and over the top and landing it right in bounds. She's going to have a nice look for her third shot. It's a little bit difficult, a little bit longer over the water than she would have wanted, but maybe give her an opportunity for a birdie.
And there's a nice view of that beautiful lake. There's the fountain not going off just yet. So the camera is actually placed on top of the hill. This is the perfect position if you were a big crushing boomer driver. I've seen Paige land up here tons of times. I know Jennifer Allen would love to be up at the top of the hill right here. And that's when you really have your birdie run. When you can get up on that top of that hill, you can see in the background of Jen's shot, that's when you can get a birdie on this hole. But at this point, it looked like Jen was lining it up. She's getting an eye of the basket, but she's not doing a run up, so I'm not sure if she's actually going to go for it. Let's take a look.
She's backing up just a little bit. She has a short run up as it is, but, you know, in my opinion, I would think that if these players don't have a view of the basket, I think a layup would be a really good idea. I just think there's not enough reward for all of the risk. It's not like you for sure go for it, and this is going to be going hard left. I don't see any way that that goes in bounds, which it has not, but it looks as if the spotter's running over, and it did cross in. Yeah, so she hit the gunite there, and our spotter's going to give her a mark. I just don't see the reward for all of that risk. What do you think there, Val?
Well, I mean, if she would have laid it up to the top of the hill, then laid it next to the basket, you know, she's sitting in that same position where she is taking her putt from down there, even though she's OB. Although it's not a easy putt that she's got to make from that OB line, you'll see where her feet are a little downhill. It's going to be a tough putt, but she could still save her par.
Yeah, I just think that if you're going to risk everything, you'd love to just see an opportunity where you would definitely be in a position to make that birdie. And Zoe Andike going with the aggressive shot, pulling it just inside that olive tree and putting it inbounds with a birdie opportunity. The high five for her caddy, Dustin. That was a big shot for Zoe Andike.
That was huge. I mean, she played the conservative line on that 210-foot hole just before this, then goes for the aggressive shot. So Zoe is mixing it up, and it's really fun to see. I mean, sometimes you just need that extra excitement, and who knows what this course throws at you. If you're in the position to go for it, Zoe felt she needed to.
Yeah, and Zoe pulling it just inside that olive tree. And here's Jessica Weiss, definitely going for it with the sidearm. Oh, and we see it hit the gunite just a little bit low and bounce back into the water. That's a really unfortunate shot. She did keep it just a little bit low, but really just a foot higher and she'd be looking at a birdie.
Exactly. A foot higher would have skipped on the top flat part of the gunite. It's a weird word that we're saying, but it's a cement mixture that makes up the lake. But if she would have hit that top, she would have skipped easily right next to the basket. So she had a really great play on that. It was aggressive. She thought the risk was worth it. And you know, she was in a good position near that top of the hill to really go for it. So, of all the players, I think she felt she needed to go for that.
Yeah, a foot higher or lower, we might have a couple more, a couple less world championships. It usually comes down to the little things there. And of our four players here, Zoe Andike really making that shot happen. We have two players out of bounds, and Maria ending up short. But she might still be in a position to make up a stroke on our leaders here because of the way she was forced to play the hole. So we will see how that turned out for her. But we do see the players kind of walking down and around the peninsula here.
Yeah, there's a lot of up and down, and the OB clearly is still in play. I'm going to check out these players are checking out to see where they're going to mark these lies.
Too bad I don't have a quick stick. Okay, grab it. It's right there.
And you can hear Jessica say, "Too bad I don't have a quick stick." They are one of the sponsors of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Levon Wolf, our friend from down in Alabama. We have Jen Allen here. This is something we talked about yesterday. It's really a double penalty with the footing that she has there.
Not enough behind that. Jen Allen is not able to save her par. She's going to take a bogey 5 on this hole with that OB stroke right there. And you'll see Jessica is marking out her lie. You can see the meter from the water, and it puts you right at the edge. And looks like Jessica's going to take a straddle putt. So her feet are level, and I think that's really important. And it's going to be a lot of leg power she's going to need to get this disc up and into that basket, save her par.
Yeah, it's always tough because this is an uphill putt. And you can see she just didn't even have enough to even get to the basket, but she felt more confident with that foot location. We see Zoe Andike here, just a little bit ahead of where Jessica was, but this is for birdie. Let's see how Zoe lines it up and see what happens here. It's a big opportunity for Zoe.
Good putt.
Yes! Thank you, disc golf gods. She's thanking the basket. She's thanking everything. No chains needed on that one. Great birdie by Zoe.
Birdie 3 for Zoe Andike. Big opportunity. Cashed in on, just barely, but she did cash in on it. Here's Maria.
Yeah.
And getting her par. And this is what we talked about. She was in a tough position off the beginning, but really giving her a par, making up a stroke on both of our, on our leader, Jessica, but also on Jennifer, who is up near the lead. Now at 2 over par after that bogey, and Jessica will be at par. We'll take a look at the leaderboard, our top 10 leaderboard. We can see now Rebecca Cox at 2 under par through 12 holes has made it onto our leaderboard. That is just incredible, Val.
Wow, and it's amazing to see still the top 10 players. They're all within less than a handful of strokes, so still anybody's game. I'm excited to see who lights it up in the back 9. There's a lot of reachable holes, a lot of birdies to make up for some mistakes these players might have had in the front 9. It's still exciting. Lots of new names on that leaderboard, and I can't wait to see.
Yeah, well, the players have their walk up the hill. We'll go and check out the 9th hole here. Again, the 3rd hole of the Peninsula Trio, as you called it. So let's take a look here at 9.
This is hole 9. It's a new tee for the women last year. They're playing the same hole this year. You can see that the shot is underneath the trees like this. We're going to see Jessica taking the sidearm route, but you see that water right there on the left. Here's the Peninsula, number 3. The basket is just nestled on the very edge of this peninsula. So like I said, Jessica's going to throw the sidearm route over the water, landing her safely, hopefully, on the right in the fairway. But a lot of the other players, they're going to be throwing the straight hyzer, clearing the fairway the whole time, overland the whole time. And I think that's the safest play. You want to land kind of at the start of the peninsula and give yourself a look at the basket. And with so much risk out there on this hole especially, I think a par is good to go all the way.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about it. I said yesterday that it might have been a birdie opportunity, but really I think you're right. This is more of a par hole because of those low branches right off the tee. They don't have a whole lot of options, and taking an aggressive line would be a risk, but there is a good reward on this one with a possible birdie at only 285 feet. And here we are back on the tee, Zoe Andike. You can see those branches right off of the tee affecting our player's view.
like she hit the gunite. She'll be taking her lie from near the basket. She had a good line, a little left for her though.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of an early release. Maria's a quick player. She just steps up and throws, no questions about it.
Yes.
And that is a beautiful looking shot for Maria, sliding it safely onto the green. An outside chance for birdie. We'll see if she goes for that putt with it being in such a treacherous location, the basket. And now our leader of the tournament, Jessica Weiss.
And as we can see these olive trees framing the fairway there, we can see Jessica's going to do a little tricky shot out and around to the left-hand side, bringing her sidearm in.
And an absolute gorgeous drive there inside circle one. She will definitely have a birdie opportunity. Jen stepping up quickly.
Hit that camera guy. Hit the camera guy.
Calling it a hit the camera guy.
And from this angle, it looked like the camera guy dodged it, didn't smack it down. Jen went flying into the water, past the basket, long. Ugh.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jen, our cameramen aren't out there to stop the discs. But we will take a little short break while our players walk down and take a look at the chase card and see how they handled this treacherous hole.
And I'm interested to see how Paige attacks this hole today.
It's a mid-range disc coming down. We don't see the spotter, but I think she ended up inbounds on that one, and it does look like she birdied that hole.
And I like this angle that the cameraman here has taken. You can see that sidearm route that Madison just took. That's the same route that Jessica took. There is a wide open path between those trees, and it looks like Madison executed that perfectly.
Yeah, and as we look at the scores down there on the bottom, we can see that Evelina and Missy are having great rounds. Paige and Madison are having some difficulties, but that was a birdie there for Paige Pierce with basically a park job.
There we
High
go.
five.
Pump
Big
it
high
up.
five.
Paige is excited about that shot. And here we are. We're on the green right now. Our cameraman's back is to the water, and we're looking at the length of the peninsula here. All our players are lining up. Jennifer Allen is throwing her upshot from where she landed out of bounds, her out of bounds lie.
Hey.
As we hear the birds chirping, it is a beautiful place here, Fountain Hills. Quiet, sleepy town outside the big smoke of Phoenix, Arizona. These players just enjoying this area. We did have Zoe Andyke go out of bounds. As Val mentioned, she did hit that concrete mixture of some sort, as we were talking about before. We call it gunite as players, but we're not sure what it is.
Gunite, I think that's just a term they use here.
Maybe.
It's the only place that I've ever said gunite.
And we see Zoe's had a couple of birdies after that rough start. This is a big putt for her to try to keep that momentum, save her par on this difficult ninth hole.
Come on, a little higher. She had a low release on that one. Still a great line. I think that's what's really impressive about Zoe's putting style. She dials in that line, and it's all about her adjusting that height. So we'll see Jessica Weiss right here.
Birdie, and that's our leader, and that's what you would expect from a person who's in the lead of the big tournament just like this, making those big shots. They're in the lead for a reason. So a couple of pars there for Marian and and Jennifer. And here we are. Here's our top 10 leaderboard. Not much change. We do see Sarah Holcomb there at the bottom.
Evelina is making her way up and up and up, and so Missy Gannon is tied with Evelina right there. Rebecca Cox is doing great. I know she's a new name to the scene. She's been playing Female Pro Open for the last couple of years, so she's getting that consistent golf, and it's clear that she's playing really good golf. She's right up there.
I mean, she's at 3 under through 13 holes, and she is playing the 12th and 13th hole, which she's gotten through with a birdie. Those are our birdie holes opportunities for our lady players. And so what a great top 10 leaderboard we have here. And the ladies will walk up the hill and head over to the 10th tee. And we're going to take a look at the 10th tee and the 10th hole here.
10th hole is 381 feet. You can see a ton of olive trees in the way. The way that this whole preview lays out, it's showing an Anheuser line, but we're going to see most of the players coming in from the right-hand side, bringing a hyzer in. And for these ladies, it could be a reachable hole if you can throw a 400-foot laser at the basket. But we're going to see a lot of these players trying to get into the fairway, setting themselves up for a nice, clean upshot. Like I said, these olive trees are all over this basket area and the fairway. So staying clear, giving yourself a good visual of the basket is really important. And par is going to be great on this hole.
Yeah, and our chase card is still on hole 10, so our leaders are going to be backed up a little bit here as well. We've played 9 holes now. We're heading into the back 9. We're heading away from the water. We don't have any more water holes besides the 18th hole. What do you think of our lead card here, as well as some of the players that have come up from those groups that were a little bit further down?
It's impressive. We were just talking about Rebecca Cox. We didn't mention that she has already moved up. She's on hole 13 right now, but she moved up 13 spots to be in 4th place. We see another player coming in strong, Sarah Holcomb. She's tied for 5th right now on hole 11. She's moved up 9 spots today. So, we're seeing these ladies play on the lead card. The pressure is always on when you're playing in a featured card. There's more people watching. There's cameras following you. And so there's just that added tension to each and every one of your shots. But we see Jessica and Jennifer. They're still playing steady golf. They're in a great rhythm, and I can see them just shredding the back 9.
Yeah, and that's perfectly said. And we do have a lot of opportunities on this back 9. We just saw Missy Gannon with her upshot. Emelina with a beautiful little sidearm. Really like to see that. Those players are tied for 2nd at this point. So we love seeing, and we sort of expected this actually, because we had players that were on the 2nd card that were tied for the lead to start off the day. So great to have the opportunity to see quite a few players playing.
Oh, there we go. I think Paige got a little momentum from that last hole, and that looked like, she's outside circle 2. I'd love to see that again, Johnny. Play it again.
That is a replay for sure. Paige Pierce from right near the edge of circle 2.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And
so many steps away from the basket. That was huge, Paige.
She ran that one in, and I'll tell you something. We were just talking a lot about, really what was going on as we see Madison Walker here. But we've been talking about all these players, and the one name we haven't mentioned much is Paige Pierce. But right there in 4th place, you're just not going to get away from this player on these courses. She just is so dominant.
And that putt right there just gave Paige 3 birdies in a row. And like you said, you cannot count Paige out. We see her name at the top of the leaderboard, winning tournaments. She's last year's champion of the Memorial. She won by 11 strokes. I'm not sure she's going to win by that much this year if she tries, but all these ladies are right behind her. But Paige is off to an awesome little run here.
Yeah, and interesting to see that our lead card is actually teeing off while the group ahead of them is still on the green on this par 3. I think that really shows how difficult hole 10 is for our lead card players. They really feel as if they're just going to be playing this hole for par. So this is exciting right now. We saw Paige Pierce literally park hole 9. We saw Jessica Weiss birdie it as well. So a lot of great action as we get here into the meat of this course and the meat of this 2nd round live action of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Just exciting stuff. And we just saw Maria get caught up in those early trees. I think that's just the one thing that these players should be trying to avoid.
Absolutely. At this point, you just want to land clear up on that hill. It's slightly uphill drive that you have to do just to clear this little hump in the middle of the fairway. But once you get over that, you're sitting pretty. You got to figure out your upshot to get you into the basket. And like I said, par is good on this hole.
Yeah, and as you said, par is good on almost every hole on this course. Zoe pulling it just to the right, and she's going to be out of bounds. Avoiding spectators / walkers there.
I think this course has a lot to do with how accurate your drives are. If your drives are right in the middle of the fairway, it's going to make each and every hole so much easier. If your drives are off, you're going to be finding trouble, finding out of bounds like we just saw Zoe do. And that's when you get those unexpected bogeys and you're just struggling to save par. And so I think drives are so important. You know, we just saw all these water holes, all these baskets right next to the water. You know, putting hasn't been the easiest thing at this point, but it'll change up in the back nine. So while we wait for these ladies to walk up the fairway, let's take a little quick commercial break. Thank you to Grip 6 Belts for sponsoring the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And we're on the tee pad of hole 10. We set Evelina right here while the lead card is figuring out their upshots. Maybe we'll take a look at Evelina throw, and then we'll get back to the lead card action. She's liking it.
And this is exactly what we want to see. A little bit of action from both these two cards. Disc Golf Pro Tour bringing you live coverage. Zoe just a little bit left. It's a big mistake for Zoe Andyke. She was playing so well. She now bogeyed the 9th hole and be lucky to bogey the 10th hole, looking at a double bogey.
Yeah, she threw her upshot past that olive tree, so she'll have a clean look at the basket, I think. But you're putting pressure on putts that you don't need to. She just wants to save par, and she's putting herself in a tester putt position.
Yeah, and sometimes it can come down to just those little itty-bitty mistakes. Maria leaving it just short. We'll see our other two players, see where they've turned up over here. We have Jen Allen way over to the left side, and Jessica Weiss is up on the right side of the fairway.
And we just saw as the camera scanned past the basket, it's down in a little bit of a hole. So these players are taking their upshot kind of on the top of a hill, but they have to throw their upshot underneath the olive branches. And the basket sits in a really nice position in that bowl, so you can run at it. And Jessica did a great job of laying her upshot really close next to the basket.
And there's a reason that Jessica Weiss is the leader of this tournament, and you just saw the reason why. She made this whole play really easy. She threw her drive up to the top of the hill, threw it up underneath the trees. You just see Jen Allen lining up and sliding it up for her par. But that's what you have to do on these holes. Just put yourself in good position, make those upshots, and just move on.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like I've thrown that same shot that Jen has thrown. I didn't necessarily mean to do it, but look at where she was. I mean, she gave herself a good look at the basket on the left side of this fairway, and we're seeing Maria lining up to save her par.
And there it is. You can see that olive tree comes into play. Maria hitting it. And that tree has always been a problem for the players over the years on this course. It's certainly been a problem for me. And now we just see on the left side here, Zoe Andyke lining up. As you called it, she is having a wide open putt here, but this is longer than she wants for a bogey.
Absolutely. It looks like she is on the edge of the circle, if not just outside. Might give her a jump putt.
And we heard just a little bit of a basket hit there, going a little bit too low for Zoe Endyke. She's going to double bogey this 10th hole, and not the way she wanted to start the back nine. And her name is definitely going to fall off that top 10 list as some other players work their way up. There's Jessica just tapping in for her par. This will be a bogey for Maria, the 10th hole proving to be as difficult as we thought it would be.
Exactly. Those olive trees really come into play and get in your mind. And with OB surrounding the basket once again, we saw a player like Zoe Endyke get in trouble there. It's unfortunate, but we're moving on. We're in the back nine. There's still lots of opportunities to capitalize. So we hope to see that out of Zoe for the next couple of holes.
Yeah, and it must absolutely be mentioned. You have to look at that name there, tied for second. Paige Pierce just birdieing the 11th hole as well for 4 birdies in the row. And we're going to head over to that 11th hole and take a look at what our ladies have coming up on the 11th hole.
11th hole is 390 feet, and you can see the hill that we're throwing off of it slopes from right to left down toward the water. I don't think the OB plays a lot into this hole, but you want to get your drive close to that basket. As you can see, it's nestled in the palm trees right there. If you've got a big booming drive, you can get close up to giving yourself a run at a putt. And we see Madison Walker here doing just that and canning it. I would say that's a birdie.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see once her score pops up. But this is a great view to see what that basket is. And that was a birdie for Madison. Missy Gannon tapping in as well.
That was a bogey for Missy Gannon. That's her second bogey of the round. She's gotten pars otherwise, so pretty clean golf. Evelina, she taps in her par putt on that hole, still holding strong, tie for second with Paige Pierce.
And Paige Pierce just showing why she's won this tournament so many times over the years. And what an impressive thing we're seeing her doing. I mean, 4 birdies in a row. This is something we haven't seen from any of our players of these ladies. And what a beautiful view of the mountains just surrounding Fountain Hills. We have a picture of you actually putting on this 8th hole, I believe it is, with that in the background. And just a beautiful, beautiful landscape around Fountain Hills.
It is, and I always notice that notch. That it's just out of frame right now, but that notch in the background. Yep. I just had this great putt picture taken of me from Marble Jones, who would come out here just to take photos of the lead cards, the lead players. And it was a great shot to capture, and I made the putt. So that's what makes the photo even better.
And here we are, Jessica Weiss on the 11th hole, taking the sidearm route. I think it's a really great option for her. Leaving it just a little short. She would have probably liked to have a better opportunity here, but really no harm, no foul.
Exactly. And you know Jennifer Allen wants to make up for some of those strokes she earned in the first 9 holes. Big booming drive.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't really seem as if Jen Allen's played all that bad. And wow, putting it long of the pin. What we can see from our camera angle, they're perfectly lined up, going to have an open putt.
That's exactly what you want when you're going for a birdie putt on this hole.
And as I was mentioning before, it doesn't seem as if Jen's played all that bad, but she's just had a couple of little bad holes here and there. Not enough birdies. Here's Maria lining up. This is a little bit high, which could bring OB into play, but it was flying just at the right speed where it wasn't a problem.
That's fine. She's going to be looking up at the basket. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a putting attempt, but she's in a good position, and she can see the basket pretty clearly for that next shot.
And Zoe Endyke is 3 over for the last 2 holes. I think for Zoe here, a nice fairway drive and a nice par, possibly a birdie would be great for her just to settle things down. I think a par here would just really settle her down coming into a couple of birdie holes.
You can see Zoe, she's stepping off the tee pad a little earlier than the group, and we're going to take a look at the chase card and see what Paige Pierce crushed on this hole.
And this is Paige Pierce, disc in the air. She's not wondering what it's going to do. And it rolled down to the bottom of the hill there. She was inbounds. As we know, she already birdied this hole, but let's see. This could be another big putt from her. And there's Madison's disc in the air. And we know she also made that putt as well. And here's Paige Pierce. Off of the tree.
No way.
Wow.
I mean, clearly she's got her putting stroke. She's feeling confident. She's going for those things. Madison Walker as well. Cashing another huge putt. When you're feeling it, you're feeling it. And you just got to go for those putts when you can.
Yeah, we were just talking about, we haven't seen 4 birdies in a row. Well, we also haven't seen banks off the tree all that much either. So Paige Pierce now moving into 12 and 13, which are 2 birdie opportunities. We could potentially see 6 birdies in a row from her and maybe more, depending on how she's feeling, if she gets more tree hits. But here's Zoe Andyke. This is a great view from behind her shot, and you just see that side hill affects the players just a little bit.
I think these are the toughest up shots, especially for a backhand right-hand thrower. You're trying to ride that hill. You're trying to get it at this perfect height so it just glides and gets that distance so you're near the basket. If you go too high, gravity's taking you down the hill. If you go too low, you're worm burning it and you're ending up super short. So it's all about that angle and the height that you release it at, but it's a touchy little shot.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's one of those shots where, you just have to find that perfect line and perfect angle. And we're going to have a nice view. Again, our cameramen are grabbing some great shots here. We can see those 3 trees affecting Jessica's line here. Just going to throw a turnover, and that's a nice shot for her. She should be able to get her par on this hole. But you can see where her disc landed. And here we are with another great view of Maria just up the hill. Outside circle 2 or outside circle 1. So it's still a tough putt, but she should be okay there and have a nice little tap in there for 3.
Yeah, and we saw Paige run for a putt like that, but I think I don't necessarily run for those putts. I think Maria had a good play there. That was nice and safe. Just imagine, you hit the basket, you hit the tree, that disc's rolling straight back at you. So I think Maria did a good job laying it up, just taking her par.
And this is a big moment for Zoe Andyke. She needs to make this putt, get off that bogey train, and she's done just that.
There we go. Getting back into her groove. Zoe Andyke, world champion putter right there.
We still have a birdie putt coming from Jen Allen. Again, we saw from our cameraman off the tee, she has a wide open putt here. She just needs to step up, be confident, and nail it.
Boom.
Which she's done. Nice job for Jen. Solo birdie. We'll take a quick look from a commercial break here while they tap out.
When the water's up and your discs are down, you need a quick stick. Grabs it easily, pulls it in instantly. There's nothing faster or easier than an in-zone quick stick.
The in-zone quick stick. Again, my friend Levon Wolf, who he was just in the commercial there, he texted me last night telling me about it. And Levon is a Hall of Fame disc golfer and a good friend of disc golf. So hope you're doing well out there in Alabama, Levon. And here we are. Here's our top 10 leaderboard. These are our contenders. And boy, we've seen a lot of new names come up onto it over the last hour or so.
Exactly. Everybody's within 5 strokes. I mean, we're playing Fountain Hills back to back. So these ladies that were already at the top are still playing some strong golf and staying right up there in the leaderboard.
So let's take a look at 12 here. We're going to come into back-to-back birdie holes. And here is hole 12.
Hole 12 is 290 feet. Players are teeing off from an elevated tee, shooting at a basket that is slightly downhill the whole way. So it's 290 feet, but it's just a nice, easy hyzer. We're going to see if they take the outside or the inside route around this palm tree. not too many obstacles in the way. There's OB long, but hopefully our players won't find that. This is the great birdie opportunity, and I'm hoping all these ladies get some park jobs or at least some good putts on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to look, and we're excited here. We're in the booth. We're excited because I mean, we're just looking at the scores here. Paige Pierce was 4 over through 5 holes and now has streaked 5 birdies in a row.
5 birdies. That's amazing. She moved up 5 places today. She's at even for the tournament, 1 behind Jessica. So everybody is in it right now. This is the second round that they're playing here at Fountain Hills. It's just been unbelievably competitive disc golf. And while these ladies are competing against each other on the lead card, you know that the chase card is breathing down your back. The third card's breathing down your back. All these ladies are so tight up in there with their scores, and it's really fun to see. I love to see the pressure put on to each and every one of these shots. And speaking of shots, we see Jennifer Allen has just released her drive on this hole. So let's bring it back to the play, the live action.
See her disc right next to the basket. Jen Allen parking hole 12, literally parking it. And now we have Jessica Weiss up on the tee. I really like this view from down at the basket because we can see how the discs land as they hit the crux of that hill, as you explained in our whole preview. She just took that one really wide.
Yeah, she did. Outside the circle, that skip did not bring her in as much as she would want. And back up on the tee box, you can see that Discraft flag is blowing. The fountain is going. So there's a little wind they're going to have to deal with.
This is the disc golf we wanted to see. And Maria going a little bit straight. The wind was pushing off of their left side, pushing to the right, which is going to push those discs a little bit further from the pin.
Exactly. And we just saw that Maria's outside of Jessica's lie. She's probably in circle 2.
Yeah, they're inside circle 2. Long birdie looks. It's a flat area down there, but still with what we saw from Jen Allen, those drives look bad. I mean, Jen Allen is literally parked on this hole. So let's see what Zoe can do. Coming off that par, maybe a little bit calm. But that wind is just getting those discs.
Exactly. You have a line set in your head and you have a game plan to throw your shot and let the disc come back in. But with wind like that, ripping from left to right, it's really keeping those discs out to the right and not letting them come back in.
And let's take a quick look at Keen Footwear. Any trail and any season, Keen Footwear. We've been wearing Keens for years, Val, and a lot of the players do as well, so we appreciate Keen's support of disc golf, and we just see our players coming down onto the green. Not great drives. We saw one great drive, but 3 really sort of now outside looks for birdie, but you never know. But now they're putting into a headwind, so this is going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, they're outside the circle, way outside. And, I think for Zoe, this is probably a good play just to lay it up underneath the basket, especially with that wind picking up. You don't want to risk getting a bogey trying to go for the birdie. So as we see the spectators and the leaderboard carrier shift out of the way, we're going to see Zoe lining up her putt. As you said, very methodical. She's a teacher, so we can learn a lot of things from the technique that Zoe has, which is, it's an interesting one, but she has her technique down and sticks to it.
Well said, Val. She is a teacher, and she knows how to teach young people, which is always difficult to do, but Zoe's a great ambassador for disc golf and just a great person in general. So, that was an okay look for her, but way outside chance for birdie there.
Exactly.
Love this view Oh, and Maria almost did too, giving it a great run.
That was beautiful. And as we said, they're putting into a headwind. And the way that Maria released that disc on such a nice flat line, I think it allowed the wind just to carry it toward the basket. Unfortunately, a little low, but she gave it a great run.
Our leader, Jessica Weiss, just a little bit left. What a beautiful camera view there. So we're going to see 3 pars and 1 birdie on this hole. Jen Allen not even needing to go up to the basket yet, as her disc is within inches on this one. Great drive by her. So not a great hole for these players, but also not the worst. And we're going to move over to another opportunity for birdie here in just a second, as these players just tap out here on the 12th hole. But boy, this is exciting, and this is what we really want to see. Is just high-level disc golf from these ladies. It's a lot of fun. I'm certainly enjoying it right now.
And I love this feeling you got when you've done all the work. All you got to do is tap it in. That's what you want to do on these holes when you got that birdie opportunity. Just park it, tap it in, move on.
Well, while we do look at the top 10 leaderboard there, a lot of new names. Some of the names we saw in the very beginning, but a lot of new names as well. Katrina Allen making it onto there. But let's quickly go over and take a look at the 13th hole. Val, what are we looking at on this 13th hole?
13th hole, you're going to see players taking a few different shots. I like the low shot, as this whole preview is showing you. You're going to throw a fairway driver, hoping to get the distance. It's 255 feet, hoping to get that fairway driver to skip right underneath the basket. There is no OB. There's nothing to think about in that regard. There's a little bit of a dip. The basket is on a slight little slant there, but it's not an elevated basket anymore. This is an absolute gotta get birdie if you want to strive to be on the top.
Yeah, we just saw as we came back, we just saw our coverage, and not sure if that was a par or birdie for Paige Pierce, and Madison Walker just did tap in that putt as well. But really, Val, I don't love to say this about holes, but I think hole 13, in my opinion, is a must birdie for these players. It's a little tricky off the tee, but other than that, there's no OB. There's nothing in the way. This is a great birdie opportunity for all these players in this group.
Yep. I can't say it enough, but this hole is so fun. I love throwing this shot because it is all about the line. As we saw that view from behind the tee pad, it's this low burner shot. And if you know you've got the power on the disc, if you're gonna hit the grass at the angle that you want, it's gonna skip up to the next to the basket. But unfortunately for these players, they can't see the shot finish. So you just gotta hope that you're putting it on the right line and it's skipping up to the basket like you want. Hopefully there's some spectators near the basket to give us an applause if it's good to go.
And we'll see if we can hear the players chatting. I think they were just waiting for some spectators. We had some requests of trying to hear what the players were talking about, but they're locked in. Here's Jen Allen. Low off the tee, but making big skips and skipping right up over the basket.
There we go. High fives around. Jen's feeling it. I think that was another great confidence builder for Jen. It's still keeping her right in the action.
Yeah, we have Jessica Weiss on the tee here. As I said, this hole's a must birdie hole in my opinion. We saw Paige Pierce par it, and Missy Gannon with 2 back-to-back birdies, now moving up into second place. Here's Jessica with a nice shot just inside circle 1 there with a birdie opportunity.
You can see she took a higher route. She was really close to that branch on her release, but thankfully it pushed right through, didn't bother the branch at all, and yep, she's inside the circle. I think she's going to be running up. That's 3 different options that you can throw on this hole, and I think that's another good option, the low route or wide hyzer.
Yeah, the wide really takes that branch out of play, and I just think the grass is so consistently skippy. I think you could just pick your spot and hit it. We just see the players here sort of waiting on the green. The next tee is just above the 13th green, so they're going to just let them play out, but we can just see Maria. Oh, yeah. And actually, the 14th hole is clear, and Maria just leaving it just short. That was a big opportunity for Jessica to sort of extend this lead on a hole that really she wanted to birdie.
Absolutely. And there we go. We get to see where Zoe's drive landed. She's just on the edge of that little dirt path. I love this position. She's even with the basket. The other players were kind of down in the low. Zoe's looking straight at the basket, giving her a birdie look.
And there you go, Zoe Andike with the birdie, with the a birdie. I was going to say lone birdie, but Maria made that huge putt. So with one of the birdies on this hole, that's good for Zoe. We'll see her move to just 4 over par now, kind of keeping herself on that top 10 list. Jen Allen making her par as well after a little bit of a rollaway, making it something she had to think about. And we'll just have a tap in here from Jessica. So we played 13 holes here in the second round, and we're about to head to these last 5 holes. And we can see now the top 10 leaderboard, the names we love seeing up there.
Exactly. We see Zoe still hanging on. She's tied for 10th right there at the bottom. Jessica Weiss is still charging. She's at -1, but there's a bunch of ties right there. Paige and Missy tied for 2nd. Jennifer Allen is tied for 4th with Evelina. And then we got a big old tie for 6th. So Maria is still hanging tough. She's tied with Katrina Allen, Callie McMorrin, and Rebecca Cox.
Yeah, and we got to mention Rebecca Cox, 2 under par, lowest score on the course. She's played 17 holes, going into the tough 18th. We'll see if she can hang on, just par that hole, and really end up with a great round. We just saw Paige Pierce go to 2 under for the round as well, which means she did birdie that 14th hole. So let's take a look at that 14th hole if we can. I'd love to see this now, and here we are, Val.
Here's a big booming shot again. We're on hole 14, 375 feet. Again, the players are teeing from an elevated tee pad and shooting downhill. You can see the basket perched right underneath this olive tree. Really nothing in the way. We want to see these players throw a big, wide hyzer and bring it into the basket. You can see the lake is still right there on the left. Sidewalk marks the OB in that direction. But this is another great opportunity to birdie, and somebody like Jennifer Allen, big arm. I know she's been practicing this hole over and over again. This has given her an opportunity to take advantage of that distance and grab another birdie.
Yeah, absolutely. Jen Allen just moving her way back up the scorecard here on this back 9, moving her way back into the contenders. She was a little bit down for a couple of holes, but with those 2 birdies she just got, pulling herself just a 1 over par for the tournament, 1 over par for the round. But really, it hasn't taken long for Paige Pierce to make her way to tied for first. Really, the water spout is open for her, and the birdies are just shooting out. So we'll see if Paige can continue that. And we'll come back now to our lead card. Maria just teed off, and now we have Zoe Andike getting lined up. Letting the spectators and the walkers come by. Val, how difficult is it to tee off of these sort of half tee, half tee pad, or half sidewalk, half tee pad holes?
It's tricky. I mean, players, they know how many steps it takes to do their run up, and the sidewalk at this course especially is slick, whereas that little half moon of the tee pad is incredibly tacky. So your back foot can slip out a little bit while your front foot grips really hard. So knowing how your feet are going to land in your X step and your release point is really important. And I think it plays a lot into these players' mind. They're thinking about this.
Fairway. But we hadn't seen too much from Jessica really over these last few holes. But then we just see that beautiful drive there on hole 15. And that's a big momentum swing for her right when she needed it. And I doubt she even knew she needed it. Of course, we know because we see the scorecards. But 1 under for the round, really just doing everything she needs to do to put herself in position.
right? And her scorecard looks so nice and clean. There's a couple birdies, 1 bogey. We hear that there's over 2,000 viewers watching the live coverage right now. So if you guys want to follow along with the live action and check out Jessica's scorecard, along with Paige making that huge charge, she's now tied with Jessica. Head over to the udislive.com website, and you can see all the player scorecards, live action scoring. And here we are back with Zoe taking her straddle putt for a birdie run.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's just going to be trying to just maybe get a kick off the branch there. You know, Val, you're a 4-time world champion, and you said it perfectly as we headed into the back 9. We're going to see some of these girls playing hot, and we're seeing that right now. They know that these are the last couple of holes they're going to have the opportunity to play here at our Fountain Hills course before they head over to Vista del Camino. I have that right today. They are heading over there tomorrow, and they know the urgency, the sense of urgency to get birdies while they can. Vista is a very difficult course, and these are good opportunities for them to put themselves in position.
And it looks like Jen's going to be shooting through the olive tree branches.
And just going off the top, the branches were definitely a factor for her there. So decent run for her. And we didn't see Maria's drive from the tee, but we can see where she landed. Nice drive, actually. A little uphill putt just at the edge of circle 1.
Yeah, we see the olive branches. Those are going to be a tester. She's going to have to keep her putt low, feed it into those chains. Just like that. She comes running in. She was just inside the circle, but that was a huge putt for Maria. Getting that stride back, getting those birdie strokes. 2 in a row for Maria.
And just as we saw on hole 12, Jessica Weiss is parked on hole 14. Almost had CTP over all the other putts, but boy, what a putt from Maria. And really, Maria, it seems like the nerves are gone at this point. 2 back-to-back birdies with big putts. And we'll look here at the top 10, and Maria's right there in the middle. So good for her and good for all the rest of the players. Sort of things starting to kind of calm down. We saw Rebecca Cox fall just off of the top 10 list there. She did finish her round at even, taking a double bogey on 18, which is unfortunate, but still a really good round for her, moving up 6 places at this point.
Exactly. And, you know, we see the final score for Rebecca being even, and that's all we had hoped for. But we saw her coming into that last hole 2 down. So we would have liked to see her finish under par. But as we see, our leader, sole leader right now with that birdie, Jessica Weiss is at 2 down. Paige Pierce, not far behind, but right in front of her on hole 14 at 1 down.
Yeah, we have 4 holes left. Let's head over and take a look at the 15th hole. Val, let's hear about this one.
Hole 15 is 426 feet. It's another big booming shot. Not a lot of these players are going to have an opportunity at birdie, but we might see Jennifer Allen crushing it far on this. Not a lot of OB in the way unless you are going for the pin. You will get that sidewalk on the left, testing your shot to stay in the fairway. The basket is set, as we can see right here, right among the palm trees, right on the edge of a hill. And Evelina went for that just after the basket. It goes slightly downhill. So if you miss it high or long or get a roll, you could be going and rolling just outside the circle. We've seen players do that. So getting your drive and your upshot really close to the basket is going to give you the opportunity to putt.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see Missy Gannon. This is from what we're seeing, this is a putt for birdie, putting from birdie for circle 1. I guess Missy has got a big arm. Let's see what she can do. And no, she just missed that. And that was for, okay, now I see what's going on. So that might have been for par, actually, for Missy. But Paige Pierce has a birdie putt inside the circle. You can see her lining up just right now. And this is awesome, folks. Just to be able to see a couple of cards worth of players that are all in contention is awesome.
Ring the alarm. Pierce birdies a 426-foot hole. She was long of the basket on her drive, so she's 430, 440. That was a huge drive, huge birdie.
Yeah, we're going to see now Missy. That was her putt for par, and now that's her putt for bogey there. So taking a bogey, she's going to drop a stroke there while Paige Pierce picks up another stroke and is now tied for the lead with Jessica Weiss at 2 under. They are now 3 ahead of Jen Allen, Evelina, and Missy, who are all at 1 over par.
Wow, this is incredible to see. This is great golf. It's great to see so many birdies. I think this course sets up really great for the women, especially this back nine. You love seeing players get birdies. That's the fun part. Great drives, great putts. What player doesn't love getting birdies? And especially a huge streak of birdies as we're seeing on Paige's scorecard. It's really fun to see. That's when the real action starts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to this 15th hole, seeing Jennifer Allen go for the green. And we just saw Maria tee off on that one.
She's a quick thrower, so we keep missing her drive. But we got Jessica Weiss second on the tee, getting her hands dry with a little chalk bag there.
Yeah, and we did miss Maria's drive, but it was right in the middle of the fairway. Here's Jessica Weiss. The big air, landing right in the middle of the fairway. Should be a fairly easy upshot, but it is kind of a tricky green, so we'll see how she handles that. Zoe Andike here. Zoe's not the biggest arm, but very accurate. I'm sure she has her landing zone she's shooting for. Putting all of her body weight into that one. She's happy with it. She should be in good position. Now here's what we've all been waiting for.
And you know this is going through Jennifer Allen's mind. She wants to crush it so hard.
Oh, get out. Get out. Sit hard.
She's saying get up, but it's left. And yeah, I think it's actually short of the 16th tee pad. I think she's inbound still. There is a sidewalk over there that she would have to worry about. But yeah, just exciting disc golf here going on, and what a great leaderboard we have here for these ladies, and really I think a really good job that our lead card here has been together. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll come right back and see the 15th hole get finished up.
When I need to check the wind, I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10% also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
Stay getting birdies, my friends.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
Oh, there we go. Just Johnny V learning the mixing software still. No, I'm just kidding. That's all good. We do love those commercials, seeing our players. They got such a good sense of humor. We saw Maria's drive that landed really short, so she went low off the tee there. Going to be now looking potentially at a bogey for her. Here's Jessica Weiss.
Really good placement here. I like being lower than the basket so I can throw up on the hill. She takes the Anheuser route, and I think that's really great. She's taking those palm trees out of play, giving her a clean open look at the basket, level with the basket, and I think that was very well played by Jessica.
Yeah, so key to play to the proper side. They talk about that in traditional golf so much, but Jessica really just playing the smart play there and stepped up and played it so quickly too. She seemed really confident about that. Zoe down here in the mud, a little tough stance. You hear something from her caddy or another player saying good shot, and I think she's going to have a little bit of a tricky look there, but ultimately inside the circle and something she's going to feel confident. We can see Jennifer Allen just working her way over there. It's hard to tell if her disc was actually out of bounds, but it looks like it was just inbound. So I think she's still just throwing her second shot here.
Yeah, I hope no players moved it, but I think, yeah, she was just inbounds there.
Yeah, our chase card was just there seeing it. They gave her the safe sign. So I think it was safe, and she'll end up with a par on this one, most likely. And we have Maria now. This is for her par. She had two sort of tough shots, and she's made two big putts in a row. So let's see if she's got a third one in her.
Exactly. She's outside circle 1, so this is a big putt. Didn't fully extend on that. She didn't reach. You can see her arm drop down a little bit, but she did give it a good attempt to save that par, and she had a good look at the basket, so she needed to do that.
Yeah,
taps in her bogey there.
Yeah, I mean, frustrating for her to take that bogey there. She was really just sort of chugging along, and so that's definitely frustrating. And whoa, we just saw a big miss by Jessica Weiss, not even hitting the basket, putting herself now in a tough position for a comeback putt as well. We're just going to scan over here and just see her lining it up. So now this is for bogey.
I wish we can see the visual that Jessica's looking at right now. There we go. That was a really good save there. You never know if those palm trees are going to get in your way. And as we'll see Zoe lining up her putt, she might have an issue with these palm trees, but hopefully she can straddle putt and reach around and find those chains.
And as that was happening, Paige Pierce was tapping in her birdie. Again, wow, all the blue on Paige Pierce's card. She's now 4 under for the round, 3 under for the tournament. And Jessica taking that bogey now gives Paige Pierce a 2-stroke lead with only 2 holes to play for her and 3 holes for her leader. Nice putt by Zoe Andike.
That was great. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Jessica, but Paige is not letting up. She is driving forward. Birdie, birdie, birdie. Great putt by Jennifer Allen.
Yeah, now we will take a look at the scores. Here, our top 10 leaderboard. You can see world champion, just all of our great player, Paige Pierce, has made her way to the top. She's birdied 8 out of the last 9 holes, if I count that right.
Yep.
Just incredible, really. This is what we saw the guys doing yesterday afternoon. So great job for Paige, and we can see Jessica dropping down there. They're going to move over to the 16th hole. We have 3 holes left in this second round. And Val, let's hear about the 16th hole.
16th hole. It's another birdie opportunity for these ladies. It is 327 feet. It's just a wide open hyzer. There's a couple mando trees there, so you're forced to go on the right-hand side, bring in that hyzer, and you see the basket is elevated, another Disc Golf Pro Tour pyramid elevated basket. So it's a little tricky in that regard, but if these players can just throw nice, easy hyzers, park the basket, it won't be an issue.
Yeah, and very well said. I think this, we talked about this for the guys yesterday. This is a must birdie for them. I still think it is, but you can see those banners just behind Zoe there, and we do have a headwind for these players right now, so making it a little bit more difficult, and Zoe wants it to come just to the left a little bit. Doing just fine, actually.
Yep, a little body language. And with that wind picking up, that makes this elevated basket really difficult. You're already thinking about the height of the basket, but as you're throwing your putter up into the wind, now you have more chances to fly over the basket and it's long.
Yeah, and in the group ahead, Evelina birdied this hole as well. Jen Allen taking the big hyzer line with so much angle, it just sticks in the side hill. She'll have a putt for birdie. Again, this is a hole that I think is birdieable by everybody in our field at this point. And we'll see what Maria's got coming off that bogey on the last hole. But boy, that looks pretty. It's just going a little bit too straight.
Yep, not enough distance on that. She's going to have a longer putt for her birdie. Let's see if Jessica can get closer to the basket than everybody else.
Yeah, Jessica needs a big bounce back right here. She needs to avoid any kind of mistake and just give herself a birdie opportunity, which she's done. This is going to be an outside chance for her for birdie on the 16th.
Yeah. None of the players are parked. They're all going to have some big putts, and if that wind keeps up, it's going to make it really difficult to get those birdies. So while the players walk up, let's take a look at a commercial.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job.
For me, it's fun.
And for all of us, it is fun. The PDGA, our governing body of disc golf, thank you very much for the support of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And we can see now from behind the pin, our players are just heading up to the green. But, you know, I just have to take a quick second and mention how, you know, incredible. And we talked about this even yesterday, you know, Paige Pierce always lurking and being the one that always finishes this tournament under par. But boy, what a performance by her just for these last 10 holes. It's just amazing.
It's so fun to see. She's not on the lead card. She's on the chase card. So a little less pressure put on her. And so she's just going full steam ahead.
Jessica was just outside circle one there. So no gimme by any means. But yeah, she's still just reeling from that little short putt she missed on the 15th hole. We have Maria here, the view from behind the players over her left shoulder. This is a birdie putt. Oh, boy, she just the last 4 holes. She made 2, she missed 2, but so close to just making 4 in a row. So good opportunity, good look for Maria there. And we have Zoe Andike now next to play.
Man, she's just inside the circle. And it's always difficult when you see your disc right just on the inside of the circle. For me, I'd rather be just on the edge or just outside to give myself that jump putt. Because I know Zoe's got a great jump putt too. And it looks like Zoe has got a couple distractions behind her. I think she's waiting for the players to tee off on the next hole before she makes her putt. And as you can see, there's a ton of distractions behind the basket. Your eyesight is now up, elevated, so she's taking her time.
Yeah, we can see just over Madison's right shoulder, the basket of 16. They're up on the 17th tee pad. And then you see a group. The men's players are already on the course, and they're just on the 15th tee pad there. So kind of a complicated area. I think it's smart for Zoe to let all of this pass. Really no rush at this point. We just have 2.5 holes left to play. So make sure she's comfortable, and nobody should have a problem with that.
Exactly. You got to make sure you're free of distractions. You can take all the time in the world if you've got distractions behind you. That's important to get back into your zone. And this is fun that we get to see the chase card playing live action right now. A lot of this has been edited by Gary back in the studio in Wisconsin. So it's nice to see a sneak peek at Missy Gannon. Looked like she turned it over a little bit. Didn't really want the shot. She didn't really want that shot, but it's out there in the open. And here we go. We're going back to Zoe's putt. She's probably going to be waiting a little bit longer. There's still a lot of distractions.
Yeah, and Zoe, you know, she's really just had an up and down round. We've seen some incredible things from her. We've seen some bad shots from her, looking all the way back to the 4th hole, you know, going OB early there. But she's at 4 over par. This is a birdie putt to take her to 3 over par, which would move her into a tie for 7. So not horrible. And again, tomorrow's, you know, such a different course, so many different opportunities for these players. But she's ready to go with the view over her left shoulder.
Let's take note of how Zoe does a straddle putt. There's a lot of leg power behind it. But not enough leg power. She needed to get that height.
Yeah, I think that weight just sort of maybe threw her off a little bit. We're going to see Jennifer Allen come here just in on the left side of our screen, and she's going to have a birdie putt, and there she is coming in. And this is a pretty birdie putt for Jennifer to go back to even par for the round, even par for the tournament. And she's missed that putt. She's going to be frustrated with that.
Exactly.
Definitely.
But she's still right in the mix. I mean, that birdie putt would have really helped her out, solidified the spot she's in, but she was still sitting tied for fourth.
Yeah, not only did she miss it, she put it a good 15 feet past, giving herself a tough comeback. And she's missed that as well. And boy, just, man.
That's what happens on these elevated baskets. If you're going for that putt, you have to know that if you miss, you're going to be going so much farther past the basket than you would on a regular basket run. So we saw that right there. Jem wasn't able to make that comeback after her birdie run, and unfortunately that looks like a bogey for her.
Yeah, that definitely is. And just have a couple of tap outs here, and the players will walk up the hill to the 17th tee pad, and we'll get a look at our top 10 leaderboard. You know, one thing we'll see here is Katrina Allen has shot all the way up into tied for fifth now with 1 under par for the round. She's got 1 hole left to play. We'll see how she can handle 18, but you know, all the contenders moving their way up after this second round.
Exactly. A lot of different scores as opposed to yesterday. We saw all these players, they were all grouped up. We had 6 players starting the round at even par. Paige was at +1. So now the players are really getting separated. You got that second look at Fountain Hills, and it's just playing a little bit different than it did yesterday morning.
Yeah, we'll as the players walk up the hill here, we will take a look at this 17th hole. Just a beautiful hole in disc golf.
So 17, another elevated tee pad shooting down toward the water. This hole is 468 feet. Big booming shot. So for these ladies, they want to get a nice drive, get as much distance as they can on it. There's no OB that's going to come into play. These ladies aren't throwing 500 or 600 feet off the tee. So they're hoping to get a nice open shot at the basket, lay up right underneath. We might have Jennifer Allen looking at a birdie run, but for the rest of the ladies, a solid par is the way to go as they're moving into the final hole.
Yeah, and we'll sneak in here and see that chase card. This is Missy Gannon. This is her par putt. You can see that those palm trees do affect, but she's on the good side. She has a wide open putt from there, and she nailed that, which is great. But I think you're right. I think in our group that we're following here with our lead card, Jennifer Allen's really the only one that this could become a factor for. And we have Paige Pierce here putting for par, and she's made that. So ending her run a little bit, but still, what an incredible row of blue on her scorecard. Lots of birdies. Just Madison Walker here. So we'll head back up to the tee, and
look at that.
And we will see the beautiful palm trees here, Arizona.
Is our cameraman taking a nap? I love this view here.
This is what we want to see. We want to see some more beautiful views of the landscape. And our players are now getting ready to tee off on that 17th hole, which really for me, again, it's a tough teeing area. It's one of those half tee, half sidewalk, but I always love playing this hole. And we're going to miss the fountain here. We have about 18 minutes or so until the fountain will go off. But sometimes as a player, you get there with the fountain going off, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. But as we scan down here, we see a slight little breeze, nothing too bad. Our players are hanging around.
Ready.
Sounds like Zoe's ready. Zoe's got a really long run up, so you can see her starting off in gravel to sidewalk to that very edge of the tee pad. Taking full advantage of every amount of footing she can get.
As much as I do love this hole, and we just see a spectator stepping in, just a little bit confused about what might be going on there. A lot of the locals do walk this park every morning, and they're not used to tournaments being played here. But here goes Zoe. Must be mentioned, as you saw Zoe just stepping down there, it does drop off right at the end of the tee pad, so just making it a little bit more difficult there. Zoe playing that hole just fine out to the right. Should have an easy up shot.
Yeah, that was a big drive. Even though it's a little to the right, she's going to have a good hyzer look to the basket for her up shot.
Yeah, and the wind we've seen as these players have played this back nine has been going from the player's left to the player's right. So we're having a crosswind on this hole, which if they get it too far out to the right, it could just hold them out there. And in this case, Jessica has played the wind perfectly. What a beautiful shot just outside circle 2. And here's Maria. Her drive. And we haven't seen Maria play enough to really know what type of player she is just yet. She seems pretty calm. Nothing seems to bother her. A little bit up and down today. Just 3 over for the round. Solo 7th at this point. But here's Jennifer Allen. Let's see if Jen can wrangle in this long distance she has and put one down there and give herself an opportunity to move right in, back into these contenders for being in tomorrow's group.
Tough wind. It looks like it's blowing a little right to left. So it makes it really difficult on this shot. Wow, Jen is just outside the circle.
I was like, good shot, and I about fell, and you like walk away. Leave me like a...
Nailing that high five right there.
Yeah,
we had a couple redos.
Our camera couldn't see it there, but they were just were high-fiving there, and now we can see how far it really is up the hill from where we are. And
I got like 2 pairs. I haven't played like a nice tournament, and then I put them on today, and I was like,
we can hear the players talking a little bit in the background. See a little bit of Fountain Hills. Beautiful little town, little retirement community talked about. But you know what's interesting? You know, we've had these holes where a huge drive can really put you in a great position. And I think that plays into your mind. Jennifer Allen, all she wants to do is just crush that shot. And sometimes you can't execute it as excited as you get to crush it. Speaking of crushes, let's take a look at the chase card. Let's see what Paige Pierce does on hole 17.
And we could see Paige just pulling it on that. I still think that this left to right crosswind is going to affect these players on this hole. We'll see how it affects our men as we look forward to our round this afternoon, but a little bit more breeze. So we can just see this is Paige Pierce, outside chance for birdie. And we saw her live make that par putt. And here's Madison Walker. What a cool view through those palm trees.
Yep. What do you think she's aiming at here? Oh, she's it kind of looked like she was going right between them.
Yeah, definitely. And here's the putt we saw live. And we'll quickly switch back to our player. We will see Zoe Andike here lining up her second shot on the 17th hole.
I wanted to say ring it super bad. That looks so good.
And we just have people enjoying watching these players play, and the players enjoying it as well. There's Maria.
There you go, nice shot.
2 beautiful up shots on those first 2, just putting them in easy positions to make their par and move on.
Exactly. Like I said, you just wanted to get your drive out there as far as you can and make that up shot a little bit shorter. You can see Jessica, she's got the palm trees to deal with, but she's hoping to get it nestled right under the basket, drop in par. And right between the palm trees she goes.
She's done just that, and it should be mentioned that 18 has got another one of our contenders, Katrina Allen, bogeying the 18. So we'll see how the chase card as well as this lead card does when we get to that point. But 18 is a tough finishing hole. Jen Allen probably just Oh, going for it off the top. What a great view of that shot.
Yeah, and as tricky as it looks going between the palm trees, it really helps you dial in your putt and get that line. So I think it's really fun when I have to shoot between a couple branches or something. You don't have as many distractions. You got to hit right between those palm trees, and you're going to be hitting the basket. And as we saw, Jen Allen did just that. I know she wanted the birdie, but skipped a little long, giving herself another tester putt.
Yeah, well said there. This is the same thing that happened on the last hole. She was not able to convert that one, but she's able to convert this one. So good putt there for Jennifer Allen, looking to play the 18th hole here, kind of get in maybe with a par and just sort of finish this round off and look towards tomorrow. But you cannot overlook this 18th hole. Just have some tap outs here. These are all going to be pars. That's a par frame for our lead card on hole 17.
We got Maria tapping in again. And then we're going to take a look at the leaderboard again. We got our FPO coming to the final hole. One hole left. The rest of the field has finished up. So we're going to see how these ladies are lining up, gearing up for the third round tomorrow. Looks like Paige Pierce has solidified the lead right there. She is at 3 down. She moved her way 6 places up to get up there. Jessica Weiss not too far behind, 2 strokes behind Paige.
Yeah, and our second card is still on hole 18 at this point. But yeah, Paige Pierce just obviously showing, what a great player she really is. But let's take a look at this 18th hole, one of the more difficult finishing holes of the entire tour.
Absolutely. We're on hole 18. It's 400 feet. As you can see, there's tons of water still daunting you on the left. There's an OB sidewalk on the right. So playing in the middle of the fairway is so important. So I think we're going to see a lot of these players throwing a nice drive up on the right-hand side. Stay clear of that water. Put your up shot close because we've got another elevated basket to finish the round. And if the wind's picking up a little bit like we've seen, it could make it a little tricky to nail that par and move on. And here we go. We got the chase card again. We got Missy Gannon. Looks like she's throwing her up shot.
Yeah, just over her left shoulder. You can really see the angle and slope of this green. It's tough to see from the tee pad, but that was a beautiful angle. Missy seems happy with it. A little uphill putt onto one of the Disc Golf Pro Tour pyramids. Here we are back at the tee.
My sister's like, that's the worst word ever.
It's not a good one.
Jessica with her backwards hat.
Is that a rally cap? Jessica's rally cap.
I think she's just trying to gear up for this 18th hole. A lot to think about. Yeah, and this is Madison's 4th shot. She was OB off the tee. Again, 18, just gobbling these players up. We saw Paul Macbeth go out of bounds on this one, and it could get even the best of the men as well. So, I'm sort of looking to see how these players handle this hole.
Yeah, and Madison was having a really great back nine. She actually started off with a birdie, got a bogey, and then 2 more birdies, and the rest have been pars. So it's unfortunate she's ending the round like this. Not the way you want to walk off the course, as she did fight her way back in that final 9.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to set Madison back at least 2 strokes. But, looking at the top 10 leaderboard, as we just see our players hanging around the tee pad here, a couple of spectators just enjoying themselves.
You need eyeballs.
Busted through, that's what he said.
It's always so interesting to hear what the ladies are talking about. The men never really talk about too much, but there's Paige Pierce. What a great view. Just an upshot for her. She's going to shoot a 4 under round on the second round. And she's 3 under for the tournament.
Yes. Good attitude. Play to play great.
So getting a pep talk from her Zuka cart. She's got a little hand puppet there.
Yes, and here we see Missy Gannon with this putt. Oh, just sneaking it up and over the front rim.
How's she doing?
Good for her. It's always so nice to see the players having a good time and enjoying themselves, and it's hard not to when you have great weather.
Exactly. I think this is probably going to be blowing up the chat boards today. Zoe's hand puppet.
Hashtag Zoe's hand puppet. Here's Madison Walker tapping in for her double bogey. And unfortunately, that's going to set her back.
Let's take a look at a little ad while these guys tap out.
Love getting outside and challenging yourself to become better? How about spending time with family and friends, or just marveling at the pure joy of flight? Then you've come to the right place at the right time. Join the PDGA.
We just saw the lead card huddle up. I think these ladies enjoyed playing this round together today. Last hole, Zoe is first on the tee pad.
And here's Zoe Andike taking that right side. She's calling for it to move over, but she's safely in bounds. And I'll say they enjoyed playing it. I also enjoyed calling it. This has been a lot of fun just to see the back and forth and to see how they manage themselves on this course. And, you know, here we have Jessica Weiss with the backwards hat, looking to throw this sidearm. It does bring the water into play, but also working away from the water, which she's doing just nicely.
She's just passed all those ducks who would be right in my landing zone, but Jessica had great distance on that. It's going to make it a really easy upshot toward the basket for her.
I've really been impressed with Maria. You know, this is the first time that, well, I've seen her play. She might have been on a couple of these cards before, but sort of dealing with the nerves early on, but really just kind of leveling out in the second half of the round. Jen Allen, who we've seen quite a bit of, also just sticking in there. She's just in fifth place. 18 is going to get her. And, man, she did cross inbounds way up there, but this hole is going to get her as well. And I do love this as a finishing hole. It's so challenging for the players. It makes them make a decision on which way they're going to play.
Exactly. I think the players got a little bit of relief in the last 9 holes of this course, and then it brings the water back into play. Yep, it's still there. There's still tons of out of bounds, and it's a great finishing hole for this course. Let's throw it to a commercial while we wait for them to walk up to their shots. Oh, hey, are you guys looking for a disc that flies pretty straight? I would recommend the Avenger SS. I really like this disc because it's a nice straight fairway driver. What I would recommend for anybody looking for a nice straight drive is a disc that's slightly understable, where you can throw it out at a hyzer flip, let it fly, but it's still gonna come back. If you try and throw anything that's overstable, you're gonna have to crank it too hard, and now you're going against that whole straight flight that you're looking for. So if you're looking for that nice straight driver right out of the box, give the Avenger SS a try.
So not only is Discraft a sponsor of the tournament, they're also a sponsor of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And that was one of our commentators, Valerie Jenkins, giving us that advice here. We have Maria making her upshot and going a little bit short. That's going to be I would call that a tester putt.
It is, yep, especially on these elevated baskets. You want to be a little bit closer than that. And I mean, it was a wide open upshot that she had. So that thick grass stuck her right there.
Zoe giving it, looks like plenty of juice and playing it pretty well just on the backside of the pin. Should have a little bit of a tailwind putt. It's, again, not a gimme, but, you know, something for her to think about as she walks up to it.
Yep, and Zoe was throwing one of these upshots earlier. It's another shot where the hill slants right to left toward the water, so it makes that upshot throw tricky. You can see Jessica's got that same kind of angle right here.
Yeah, and as we look forward to tomorrow playing Vista del Camino, we have Paige Pierce leading the tournament at 4 under par. Jessica Weiss, if she can get her par here at 1 under. We also have Evelina and Missy at even and 1 over respectively. That should be our lead card tomorrow, which we're excited about. And the second card should be Jennifer, Maria, Katrina, and Zoe. So really just all these players just bunched up in there, and really this tournament resets tomorrow in a lot of ways, and we'll chat about that here in a minute. But Jennifer Allen, this is her third shot, just nestling it up there. really, Jan had a
Thanks for spotting.
bad couple of holes there to finish this round, but I think the course lays out okay for her tomorrow and for the last 2 rounds. So just our players walking up to the green. Let's see. Maria is about 22 feet from the basket for her par. She's a quick player.
Yeah, she is. And as you can see, there's tons of distractions behind the basket. So this is a tough putt to finish the round for her. Wow. With the pressure on, spectators all around, she nailed that putt. That was a great par save with a shorter upshot than she wanted, but she's confident in that putt, and that really paid off.
Yeah, what a way to finish the round there. Maria should be really proud of that. And we see Jessica Weiss has left herself about 20 feet for her par. This would mean 1 under for the round if she pars. If she bogeys, it's even. And we'll see what she's got. Backwards hat, glasses on.
I really wanted her to make that putt. She's been playing so solidly through the whole day. Making that putt would have just clenched it, would have tightened that gap a little more between her and Paige.
Yeah, and she wanted to make that as well. So that's going to be at best a bogey for her. Bringing in Evelina as tied for second. But really, she doesn't have a gimme just yet. She's not completely in. This is Zoe Andike for par. And that's a par for Zoe Andike. 4 over par for the round. Not what she wanted, but really not as bad as it could have been. She really battled pretty hard on that. We'll go to Jessica now for her bogey.
Again, this angle, lots of distractions behind her.
Yeah, I'd love to go to the other angle. We see the fountain going off here. And she's made that bogey putt. And the fountain, there you go. You can see the fountain. It is 11:01. These ladies have been on the course for just about 3 hours exactly. Jennifer Allen tapping in for her bogey after she threw OB off of the tee. So there's our round. What an incredible round with Jessica Weiss shooting even par, back-to-back even pars. We had Jennifer Allen shooting a 3 over par that round, Zoe Andike shooting a 4 over par, and Maria shooting a 3 over par. So we can see, there we are, Val. What do we think of our top 10 leaderboard as we head into tomorrow?
Well, I think everybody was waiting for Paige to make her move, and there she goes. She's sitting 3 ahead of the rest of the field. I'm glad to see Jessica and Evelina are still putting on the pressure, and that's what you need to have. You need to put on the pressure. Like you said, we're restarting tomorrow. We're playing a completely different course. We're heading over to Vista del Camino in Scottsdale. It's going to be a different layout. I feel like these players have just played one tournament. They're moving on to the next one, and we're going to see the tide switch. Let's see which players play Vista better than they have at Fountain Hills. We might see a huge change up tomorrow.
Yeah, perfect explanation there. And we'll talk a lot about that because this really is a tale of 2 tournaments. But as it is for today, we saw some really entertaining disc golf. Awesome that the ladies were able to sort of shake off those early nerves, and we saw a lot of really fun stuff in the back there. So do you have any other thoughts about anything else we saw today, or how I guess we kind of just went over it, but I'm just kind of looking at the board. Who do you really feel like can challenge Paige at this point as we look to tomorrow and going into the weekend?
It's going to be really fun watching Evelina and Missy battle on the featured card, the lead card tomorrow, but it is up to Jessica to keep that pressure on Paige. If Paige starts to get a little more confident, starts continuing to build that gap from the rest of the field, she's going to keep running as we've seen before. Last year, she won by 11 strokes. So as long as Jessica continues to keep putting that pressure on, she's going to be the one to battle Paige in the end. Evelina and Missy, I hope they play solid rounds to continue to compete against these ladies, but it is the experience and the pressure that really pays off in the end.
Well, perfectly said. And we appreciate everybody watching this morning. And you're going to have a few hours until we come back live. Go play some disc golf, go to work, I'm going to go shovel some snow, but we had a great time and good job there, Val. And we'll see everybody this afternoon. So that was live second round coverage of the 2019 Memorial Championship presented by Discraft on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We'll see you this afternoon for the men's lead card coverage. See if the Smash Boys can do it again, but we'll see you a little later. And thanks.